Dave, I'm surprised you made it. You didn't sleep in.
Oh man, I almost been like, hey man, I don't know, but
I don't know if I'm gonna make it. It was monster number 4 that got me.
Dude, it's fine. We'll do it now. I'm doing not good, everybody. But this is pre intro. I drank like 4 monsters. We were playing some D&D game, and I was just having so much fun that I didn't have any sody pops. I didn't have any sodies, so I was like, "What's a monster? What's the difference?" I was gonna drink 4 sodas too, whatever. Well, I'm feeling the residual effects, everyone. I threw up at like 7 in the morning. I woke up with a big tummy hurt, and as the great philosopher, the Joker, once said, "You get what you fucking deserve." And I threw up all in my toilet that I just cleaned a few days ago.
Do you have like a stockpile of monsters like in your house?
Yeah, at Walmart they sell like 4-packs, and so what I was doing was I was taking one to work in the morning. So because I'm a mailman, I do a lot of casing, but I'm always sleepy because I stay up to like 1 a.m. and then I have to wake up at 5 a.m. So I didn't get enough sleep, and so what else is better for your heart than a fucking energy drink and with your lack of sleep? So I decided that's what I got to do to get through my day. But
you should switch to Red Bull.
I could switch to Red Bull.
I don't know. You would have no puke.
I associate Red Bull with my work at Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know why. And then I associate Monster Energy drink with gaming. So it's like I just feel more positive about. They really branded me. It's the Halo Master Chief man on the side of the Monster Energy.
Yeah, the gamer
drinks.
fuel. Anyways,
but my tummy
let's get this started. Hello and welcome to Gaming Together, cooperative podcast. I'm your host, Phillip, and I'm here with my co-op partner, Nave. Each pod, we play through a cooperative experience related to you, the listener. If this game is the creme de la creme of co-op, or something better off playing solo. Oof. And our guest here is old game positive, Eric. Great to have you, Eric.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, now let's touch back to where we were at. Nave, didn't you just tell me a horror story about puke or dog or something like that before?
Yeah, so my life has been just turned upside down. My dog has gotten sick also. I woke up, I called in to work, right? I was like, I'm emotionally distraught. I don't want to work today. They're like, okay, fine, whatever. Because we mailmen, we got it like that. Apparently some mailmen went a little nuts in some point in the history, I don't know. But so I woke up in the morning and my dog threw up and liquid diarrheaed all over the carpet in my living room. Just the living room, no other place in the house, so that's pretty nice. But I decided, so I had to clean that up, and I threw up then too, because I'm okay with solid fecal matter, but if it's liquid and I feel it through like 25 layers of paper towel, I'm like grinding it into my carpet, and the smell is like, it's like a spore, a mushroom spore shooting smell everywhere in my fucking apartment. It was the worst, and so I ended up throwing up doing that too. And the throw up wasn't so bad, but I was like, okay, cool, that's over. That's never gonna happen again. I don't want to deal with that. So I had to go renew my driver's license because it expired like a month ago, and I just didn't realize until like a few days ago when I decided I wanted a few beers. Which, by the way, I haven't drank in like a month for some reason. I don't know what the fuck. Maybe it's just because it's been 110 degrees in Oklahoma, so maybe I'm a little dehydrated and I'm drinking Monster Energy drinks before work. But I went and got my driver's license and everything. Came back, even more shit. Like even more than this morning. There was more like a fucking. She was spiteful that I left. On top of she had this cachet of extra bodily fluids. Like she's a small dog. I don't know how it's possible she had so much going on inside of her body. But it was on every conceivable square foot of my carpet. There was either dried, rubbed in shit in the floor, or like brand new, just waiting for me to happen. So called my mom and I cried. I was like, Mom, I'm not even joking. I was sobbing into the phone because I took this day off because I was stressed out. And so this, of course, happens to me. And so my mom came and bless her heart, she cleaned all of this shit and it looks very nice in here. It looks way nicer than before. Almost like, shit cleans your carpet in some way. And I cooked her hamburgers. So it was a nice little day. Actually, it was a horrible day. But thanks for asking. Is that what you asked? I don't even know.
I don't know. It's pretty good. So let's hear a little bit more from Eric. Eric, how about you tell us about Game Positive?
Yeah, so it's hard to follow up all of that poop talk, but Game Positive is my podcast slash YouTube channel. I create episodes there that focus on the cool stuff and the happy stuff that's related to video games. I do an interview show called Insert Coin that's been a little bit on hiatus, where I talk about the life and history of the guest video games one quarter at a time. Nave was actually on one of those episodes. I think it's actually the most listened to one of those episodes. So thanks, Nave. I also am a senior contributor to seasongaming.com. I do a lot of writing over there, reviews and articles and stuff like that. So make sure to check that out as well. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and we've had you on an episode before, or 2 episodes. I don't remember which ones. We have so many episodes.
At least one for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I can't remember.
But it's great to have you back, and especially to talk about Elder Scrolls Online. But before we get there, let's talk about what games we've been playing this week. Nave, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a handful of things. Hold on. I just wrote this down, but I forgot anyways. So I got so wrapped up in that story. I've been playing this game called The Wander Song. This game came out like 2 years ago, I think. It came out on my birthday, and so I was like, I'm definitely just going to play it just simply because of that. Of course I didn't, because I never do what I say I'm going to do. And so I ended up playing it recently, and apparently I had beaten the first chapter of it. I don't remember any of this game. And of course, I didn't restart the game because I have no idea how long the chapters are. So I just kept going. Turns out the chapter's like 10 minutes long. But this game is adorable. It's kind of like you're a bard that sings, and everyone thinks you're useless because that's all you do is sing in a world where, you need lumberjacks and shit. Apparently, you can sing and it scares ghosts away. Like, not that you sing badly, but the ghosts go away. But it turns out singing is like the most important thing you could possibly do, and that's just like a lost art form. And you learn how to speak to ghosts and spirits. You learn that the earth is going to end. You learn that like there's a song that if you can spirit bomb the world, get everyone on one page, you can sing a song that will heal the earth again. And so you're going off on a quest, and it's a very cute game, very funny. If you like rhythm games, it's not very rhythm gamey, but there's like a little bit of rhythm in there. There's some little touching side characters, like there's a guy with an accordion that you end up getting in a band with, and he lost his mother. It's really fucking interesting. It's really good, actually. It's like just a 2-minute little short story that you go through in order to get a song. It's kind of like Zelda, where you're going around collecting the pieces, but instead you're collecting pieces of the song. So, and everyone just accidentally knows parts of the song just for no reason. But yeah, it's really interesting, and I like that game a lot. So I think I'm probably going to beat it, especially since of how short it seems to be.
Yeah,
but
it looks pretty cute.
Yeah, I've been playing the shit out of it. And so, I've also been playing Deadly Premonition. This game is also very cute, but I'm very angry at this game. And when I started it back up, I remembered I was angry. So I try to never end games on sour notes, because I always come back and realize that I'm upset. And usually that means I write the game off immediately. And so I didn't do that for Deadly Premonition, because I remember I have such a soft spot for this game. It's so interesting. But I'm angry again because I keep having to wait for extended periods of time for the fucking story to happen. And I know that the game wants me to fuck off and go do some side mission or something, but I just don't feel like doing it. Like, I don't know what it is about this game that isn't compelling me to do side stuff, because they're weird. Like, there was this one time I was just driving around wasting time, and I saw a dog, and I was like, dog! And so I drove over to the dog, and I just stood around it, because you can't interact with them in any meaningful way. And I looked over to the side, and I was like, oh, there's a little collectible thing over there, I guess. And I walk over there, and he's like, this is a human bone. And I was like, I found a human bone. And he's just like, yeah, it could be interesting. And he puts it in his back pocket, and then that's it. It doesn't tell me where to go. So that's kind of what the side missions are like in Deadly Premonition, I guess. That's like one of the only ones I can remember. But the game is really fun and interesting if you can swallow the B movie everything. It's very like campy, but it's also like hard to control, and like there are some really dated, like it's like you got to wait till 2200, and I'm like, okay, what time is it? I check my watch and it's like 1900, and I'm like, it's like 1945. I'm like, okay, I have 15 minutes. Each minute is 20 seconds long approximately, according to my loose counting. So if I sit here for 45 minutes in real time, it will be time. But I will starve to death. So I need to eat. I need to go get food. So where's the diner? How far away am I from the diner? How long does it take me to travel to and from the diner? Because I have to be here at 2200 to 2230. And if I'm not in there in that tiny window, Dead Rising rules, then
Yeah,
it's
it's like
fucking
Dead
over.
Rising. Yeah, classic.
But it's not over. He's just like, oh, geez, gang. Guess we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow. And that's the fucking. He's like, this can wait because it's a small town. No one cares. And so he just fucking waits till tomorrow. It's insanity. And I found out that you can sleep because I was like, yeah, I can sleep. There's a bunch of places around I could sleep at. I go and I sleep, and it says you can sleep in intervals of 3 hours. Well, guess what that means? That means that there's no meaningful way to pass anything between 3 hours. So if you need to wait for 2 hours, which is what I needed to wait, then you could wait for 24 hours and you'll be right back in the same spot on the next day. So it's like you have to sit there and wait. So I was sitting around like just playing chess, just waiting for this time. I had like 15 minutes left, right? And I was playing chess. I didn't know you could starve to death. I die on the ground. I just fall over, right? And so, could you imagine my shock when that fucking happened to me? Because I'm like sitting here mixing to checkmate someone, just talking tactically to myself about it, and then I hear all the strange noises. Well, anyway, I wait again. I literally sit around waiting for like 20 minutes. Just watching. I'm eating lollipops. I'm fucking waiting for the fucking shit. Eating cookies and crackers and shit. Whatever's in my pockets. I get the mission, right? And I'm like, okay, thank God. I got the mission. I'm ready to go. They put me in a cop car. I'm like, sweet. And they're like, tail that guy to wherever he's going. I'm like, okay. And so I drive forward. I'm in a cop car, so the first thing I do is go, whoop, and then fucking stop. I failed the mission! And he's like, oh man, he caught on to us. Guess we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow. Jeez. And I go, oh my God. I'm like, okay, so the fastest way to do this is to just reset the load, right? Reload the save. And it's like back at like 1930, 1945. So I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, I have a stream coming up that I love to watch every month, and I look at the time, and it's starting in like 15 minutes. I'm like, I don't have enough time. I physically don't have enough time anymore to start this fucking mission. I can't sit around and wait for another 35 minutes. But Deadly Premonition is really good, and everyone should play it. There has to be a way to pass the time. Like I have to that they just didn't explain to me. So I'm gonna Google it next time I play. I'm gonna have to just Google it and see. It's like how the fuck? Because there's no possible way, right? Like there's no way they did that, right? Well, I thought there would be no way that they would make me restart the mission if I just just one time. Like I thought that was an impossibility, but it was there. So old games, man.
Makes me think of like Saints Row 1, where if you died in a mission, instead of restarting the mission, it would send you to the hospital, and you'd have to walk back to the mission point to start it to try again.
Oh, like Grand Theft Auto 3 rules.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, oh, this is an amazing gameplay. I'm glad they implemented this.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So the next game we have on the list is Solasta, which is definitely going to be an episode at this point, maybe. It depends on how long it takes to beat. Eric, do you know anything about it?
I don't. I saw Nave playing it on Xbox, but I'm not 100% sure what it is.
It is a like verbatim video game version of the tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, and it is really fun. Where we were trying to play Ember, which is a strong mediocre game, and Nave was like, I can't do this anymore because like, okay, in Ember, the whole premise is you are a like ride sharing app, but for firefighters. So if your house is on fire, you just pull out your phone, get on the app, and look for Ember agents in your area. And then we're the Ember agents that then run over and try and save them. Anyways, you get rated 1 to 5 flames, depending on how good you save them. And Nave is in there, like their house is burning down. I'm trying to save all these little civilians that are supposed to be paying us and tips and stuff like that. Nave is grabbing their computers and their TV and robbing them, throwing it in the back of his truck. Like, and you can do that, and you get money for it. Only I'm like, Nave, we have so many of the upgrades. We don't need the money anymore. we just need the stars. And meanwhile, he's like, all right, I have the big screen TV, but it's not tilted the right way to get it around the door. He's like trying to pivot through a staircase with a big screen TV while he's on fire trying to get the TV out. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're making me so mad. Like, I was like frothing with anger. And every time I would pop up in the corner, like, hey, when you're stealing stuff, make sure the civilians don't see you. They might take it the wrong way. And I'm like, damn it, that means Nave is stealing something because that tooltip only pops up when you put something in the back of the truck because it's like a reminder, like, hey, stop stealing stuff in front of the civilians whenever they haven't been rescued yet. And meanwhile, it's like 1 out of 10 civilians saved. And I'm like, Nave, we're going to fail the mission and all the TVs and crap you stole, we're going to lose anyways because everyone died. And he's like, I'm just gonna. Oh, I found a wad of cash, and he's just got a wad of cash that he's like dragging out of their house. And I'm like, God damn it, Dave, why?
Is the only entertainment value I was getting out of the game on top of you getting mad. It was very funny. But it was also like there was this one mission where we failed it like 4 or 5 times, right? And Philip was just like, we're just gonna try again. I'm just like, oh God, please just stop in this. And then he's in there doing all of this. He's like fucking 360 parkour, shooting a grappling hook like Batman across the fucking room and throwing people out the window onto mattresses and shit. And meanwhile, I'm outside and I'm like, there's a bike rack with like 50 bikes. And so you can save items too and like return it to them. So I'm just like Kobe, just throwing bikes into the fucking civilian area, like where you're supposed to save stuff. And Philip ends the mission. He's like, all we need to do is save 4 people and then just immediately get into because we would keep saving 4 people and going back for more and then dying in the house and having to restart. And so Philip was just like, let's just leave. Come on, we got to go. I'm like, Philip, I saved like 25 bikes. And he's just like, I just silence on the other side, just nothing. He says doesn't interact with me at all.
Well, it wouldn't matter, but you need the flames to unlock later levels. We are in the 3rd final chapter of the game, and we are missing so many flames. We can't even do the first level. Like, we have all the previous stuff. And then I scroll back and I look at it, and it's like, 1 star, 2 star, 1 star. Because, like, we have all these, like, things where it's like, we would get the bare minimum to pass the level, and then we would get all this stolen loot, which doesn't give you stars or anything like that. You don't get bonuses on your score for that. You just get money so you can buy more upgrades for your character. Not helpful when we need stars.
But was helpful because we got an achievement on the last level that we did together for stealing $5,000 worth of loot. So you're welcome.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, back to Solasta. This game is brutally hard because we're level 2 characters, and I think early on in Dungeons and Dragons, before you have all your abilities, is like the hardest part. And we were having so much fun. Like, Eric, have you played any D&D?
I've played a little bit of D&D. I also played like Pathfinder and like Divinity
Perfect.
Original Sin 2, which I think is probably similar to this game.
I don't know. I haven't played Divinity Original Sin, but I assume so.
It's
Is it just
very
like
similar? It's even more like you're constantly seeing dice rolls in this game. Like it's always like here's the dice roll and here's the enemy's dice roll. So you're always reminded that you're playing this like simulation of a tabletop game. Whereas I think doesn't Divinity just like do it all in the background?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely dice rolls happening, but the combat is like turn-based. I mean, there's environmental advantages and positioning and stuff like that, but when you're playing co-op or just in general, it's like a turn-based, but it is very D&D. Like you can make decisions that completely change how everything's happening, and you can, it's literally. I think Divinity Original Sin 2 is like one of the best games of all time. It's
Yeah. I've been trying to get Philip to play it. I was blown away because Philip was like, "Man, it's so cool that in Solasta or whatever Celeste we can play. It's not Celeste, but we can like split the party up and like do other things in the town." I'm like, "Dude, Philip, if you like that, then you're fucking love Divinity Original Sin 2 because you can literally leave me in the middle of a dungeon because you're like, oh man, I need to go get some. You can be like the little helper in Diablo or like in Torchlight and just go fuck off to the fucking store, and you can take an NPC with you. So you literally split the party, and I just get into a fight, and I'm in turn-based combat on one half of the screen, and then you're in the town, like just screwing off with NPCs over there on the other half of the screen. You can do this locally.
Great.
It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like how is this game functioning?
Mm-hmm. And there's
That's
a lot
incredible.
of like interactions in the environment with NPCs. Like you can kill anybody, you can steal from anybody, you can drastically change how the world interacts and perceives you. Like it's just like D&D, because obviously with real D&D you can literally do anything. That's the beauty of it. But games usually have restrictions because they're, at the end of the day, it's code. But the scope and scale of Divinity is ridiculous. And Baldur's Gate 3, which is from the same studio, I think is the same thing, but probably even better because it's newer.
The biggest thing hamstringing us in Celeste is that we don't know the system perfectly and what our characters are exactly capable of, which really screwed us over because Nave's like, don't talk about your characters. Everybody make your own character and then come in. And I'm like, man, this system looks a little complex. I'm going to be a human warrior, basic. And then our other friend, Melissa, also made a human warrior. And I'm like, oh no. And then Nave's like, I'm going to be a rogue. And then his Nave's second character, because it's a 4-player and you have to have 4 characters. His other character, he's like a cleric. I'm like, okay, so we got no real ranged attacks, right? You know, we're like struggling to kill any ranged enemy because Nave is just a stabby boy. And then we have a Healy cleric. And then out of nowhere, Nave is like, guys, I have a longbow. I'm like, when did you get a longbow? He's like, I've had it this whole time. And then all of a sudden he just starts sniping things. And we're like, man, you would have saved us like 3 combat encounters ago.
You say I start sniping things? The first encounter that I get a longbow, we're fighting a lizard boy that literally crawls up a wall. So all my warriors are just standing there like, oh shit, man, look at that. That sucks. So all we can do is just look up there at the guy. And so it's like, it's up to me. What is my name? Squiblian. Squibble Squammy. And I'm like, I don't know what my fucking name is. And so I pull up my bow, critical 1, miss. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sucked. I got next turn though. It's going to be fine. And I get my bow out. Critical 1, and I'm like, oh man, twice in a row, what are the odds? Okay, but it's gonna be fine because this third time I'm getting. Meanwhile, this guy is sniping us with poison attacks and from below, and so I'm like, oh, don't worry guys, don't worry, I got this guys, and I shoot, and critical 1, 3 in a row, and I'm like, what are the odds of that? Okay, let me Google this. What are the odds of getting the same number on a D12? And meanwhile, everyone's just yelling at me, and I realized that my the cleric, she has a crossbow. Because everyone's like, man, I wish warriors started with crossbows. And I look, for some reason, I didn't realize that she had a crossbow. Now, the cleric is the one that kills the fucking guy with the. She shoots him and hits him immediately. I have way more dexterity than she does. I don't even understand how the fuck that worked. But anyway, but that's what makes these games so fucking hilarious. And so I don't know if this game is even good or not, but the fact that we could see all of these dice rolls and shit happening, it just adds so much fucking comedic timing to this, to the experience of just playing together. And so I love that shit. It's so fun.
Like, my favorite thing is my badass warrior is to call out one-liners right before I strike someone, because I have a giant 2-handed monster whooping sword. And so if I can hit him once, I'm rolling high damage. And I even like re-roll like the lower dice. So because I'm a heavy weapon expert, so I just smash the crap out of whoever I hit. But so many times, because I thought my character was busted because we were actually rolled for stats, just like randomly rolled. And I'm like, oh ho ho, like I got a dang old 14 in my strength or something like that. So I am a monster. I go in there and like Nave's character's busted, Melissa's character's even more busted. I'm like, I'm actually the loser? How did this happen? Like, I got the weakest character. I have like a -1 in intelligence. I'm dumb. I'm a big dummy. And normally like
it's fucking great because Melissa is like, she's like sword and shield and she hits someone for like 17 damage. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then Philip goes, cowabunga. And then he swings, rolls a 3, misses immediately so bad. It's so fucking funny.
It's terrible.
Like, what are some of the one-liners that you say? Because it's always, it almost
it's always
always
something
ends
stupid. There's always welcome to dead. Or Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, Hakuna Matata. He goes, Hakuna Matata, and he misses. And then my turn is next, and I go, Hakuna Matata. And then I miss, and I'm just like, damn it. Everyone's so fucking stupid. I don't care.
All right, let's keep this moving. Eric, what games have you been playing?
I have recently wrapped Card Shark, which I'm writing a review for. That game is absolutely incredible. It's exclusive to the Switch, I think, temporarily, but it's very hard to kind of explain why it's really good until you actually play it. If you have a Switch, there's a free demo that I recommend everybody check out. But it's essentially like a quick time event. Quick time event, the game is kind of what it is, but all the quick time events are different ways you can cheat people in cards. And there's actually like a pretty involved story that was surprisingly deep with some surprisingly some surprise twist that I didn't see coming because I didn't expect much from this game going in. But I think it's one of my favorite games this year. It's phenomenal. Also playing Neon White, which is also another game that I think is temporarily Switch exclusive. That game is really, really good. I'm a little bit early in that one. Still have ways to go. That one is, it's kind of like if you take that mission in Titanfall 2, the Gauntlet mission, like the training mission, where you have to like do a bunch of parkour and interweave like your attacks and stuff to try to get the best time.
Yeah,
It's
we've
like
talked
that.
about it, I think.
Yeah. So it's like that, the game with a story and way more depth to those speed running mechanics, which is really, really fun. And I'm playing a lot of what I seriously am considering. It's still early, so like I can change my mind, I think. But I think that Multiverses is the best multiplayer game that come out this year. I am absolutely obsessed with it. It's so fun. I don't know if you guys have checked this out. If you haven't, it's free to play. You should
Just
definitely
watch
check it.
some
You
gameplay
think it's
footage.
even better than Halo Infinite?
Wait, it's free to play?
Yeah, Halo Infinite didn't come out this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it is free to play. It's kind of like League of Legends, so it's free. You get Wonder Woman if you do the tutorial, and then they have four characters
Rotating champs.
that rotate out in and out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how long the rotations are. I'm assuming they're a week, but I didn't actually look into that. You can unlock them just by playing or like with money, same as League. But at least initially, I seem to be getting a lot of the currency to unlock them. I probably have maybe 10 hours or less of gameplay, and probably less actually, and I have enough to get one expensive character or two inexpensive characters, which is pretty good, plus the four. I'm probably honestly going to spend money and just buy the big mega bundle because I love this game. If you're a fan of Smash, I think it's better than Smash, which is probably
Better than
blasphemy.
Smash? My
Yeah,
God.
dude, because I mean, we can get into it if you want. I think that this is the first time that a company has made a game like this and had the budget behind it. Because usually the competitors to Smash were like Brawlhalla or
Digimon Rumble Arena 2.
that. Sure.
Nickelodeon.
What's the like 16-bit one? I can't remember the name of it. Where you play as like there's like a whale character.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Slap match?
City.
Yeah, Slap City. I don't think it's 16-bit.
It's not Slap City. It's
That's another one though. Donkey's got like 2 videos on that one. It's pretty funny.
I had it, and then you said Slap City, and it like threw my brain. I have
Oh no.
Rivals of Aether, I think is what it's called.
I would have never guessed that.
I am
You're talking about
convinced that is
Paladins?
at least. I'm convinced that's at least 80% correct. It's something like that. But yeah, what I'm getting at is those games that compete against Smash are typically from indie developers, and they are awesome, and they definitely compete mechanically with Smash, but obviously they have smaller budgets, so the polish is not the same. That's not the case with Multiverses. Multiverses competes with it mechanically. I think the characters, all the characters so far, and mind you, the roster is smaller than Smash, but the characters that are in the game right now have more depth and mechanics to them than Smash characters, at least with my like brief time with both games. But the polish is just ridiculous. The animations are all top notch. They even have some of the original voice actors. So like Maisie Williams is voicing Arya Stark, and like Kevin Conroy is voicing Batman, and you have like some of the original voice actors for like Harley Quinn with Tara Strong. I think is who voices her, which is like really cool. They didn't get LeBron James though, which is a shame. He's not voicing himself, but he's in.
I was gonna ask, who's your main?
My main right now is Wonder Woman. Only because she was the character that I knew I owned because you get her for free, and I didn't want to like. I didn't know initially how much I was going to like the game, and so I wanted to pick the character I own in case like the ones that I played went off the rotation, and I didn't know how fast it's going to get gold. So I just that was my logic, and I pretty much only played Wonder Woman. But like the depth of it, it's so fun, and the thing that I think is really interesting is they focus a lot or heavily. It's like the main focus, honestly, they on 2v2 instead of like 1v1, which is typically where the focus of Smash is, at least if you're not playing it in like a party scenario, to the point where even like next week there's it's going to be at Evo, and there's $100,000 Multiverses tournament, and it's a 2v2 tournament, so everyone's playing 2v2 even in competitive, which is really cool because the characters are like balanced around that. So like Wonder Woman's down special is like a teleport to your teammate and give them a shield. So like a lot of the mechanics or the characters they're designed around co-op or like team play, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I know, that sounds really good.
You got something going on in your brain
Send
there?
a lot of co-op flags in my brain when I hear about this.
Yeah, and like it does. There's no real pay to win that I can see. The cosmetic store is like the only thing that you really get with premium. There's battle pass as well. All the characters and like the characters have like levels to them, so there's a progression system which kind of gets that dopamine firing. So as you level up
Yeah.
your characters, you unlock different perks that you can add that do kind of create a little bit of a build, but it's kind of like the runes in League of Legends where they are
I
there. They do
gotcha.
provide an advantage, but it's not like you have no chance of beating anybody that has better runes than you. It's not like that, but there is enough where if everything's equal, then you want these runes, so you want to play and progress the characters, and the only way to get those, as far as I can tell so far, is by playing and spending the gold you get from playing to acquire them. And the more champions or characters you level up, the faster you can get runes for other characters. So it's a really cool system, and it's a really really fun game, and the polish is just mind blowing. And I won't spoil it in the show in case people are sensitive to that stuff, but the game has been data mined, and the characters that are referenced to becoming as DLC characters is like crazy. If you think about it, WB has a huge legacy of IP, and they are going deep into the well and making sure every base is covered, at least from the data mines. Because they already freaking have LeBron James. Like if
Yeah.
they're gonna have LeBron James, like it's limitless.
Doors are
what
wide
they
open. It could be anybody.
Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat,
You can't believe they
Matrix.
got Macho Man Randy Savage and Jesus. It's crazy.
Hey man, they're on the table.
Yeah. One of my favorite, get the Dolly memes with the AI generated things.
Oh yeah, gold.
One of my favorite
Absolute
ones I
gold.
saw was like new League of Legends champion Jesus Christ, and it's just like all this flash art where it's just like it almost looks more like Malzahar, where it's just like standing in front of like glowing backgrounds and stuff like that with like abilities. I'm like, this is perfect.
I love
Yeah.
I love the worse they get, the better, because it's like, man, I wish I could just get into your head, your mind space. Where were you? It's like Hitler at a Smash Brothers tournament, or like something like that. I'm just like looking at it, like this looks like that. Like,
Yeah,
how is this
exactly
possible?
that.
How do they do this?
Oh, I should
Right.
also mention that it has the rollback netcode in it, so like online play is phenomenal. I have only experienced lag once, and you can't say the same with Smash Bros. So it
Oh no,
instantly gets a
Smash Bros. Terrible.
huge, yeah. So you get a massive advantage with that. I think it honestly, they haven't. There's no way to reliably get the concurrent players for a console game on like PlayStation or Xbox, but on Steam, it had over 140,000 concurrent players, which would on its own, not counting the console games, would probably make it the most played like concurrent fighting game in history. And I would wager that there's more people playing on console than Steam, just because the fighting game community, for the most part, is more centered to consoles. More people play fighting games with controllers, like it kind of makes sense, or like arcade sticks and whatnot. But yeah, so if the consoles just match that number, you're looking at like 300,000 concurrent for a fighting game, which is historic. So like this game is off to a good start. Let's to put it simply.
Nice. All right, do you have any more games you want to talk about?
I mean, I'm also playing like the standard slew of like World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Apex Legends and Halo Infinite. So like those are just always being played. So probably not worth really mentioning. There's nothing really new or exciting with those games.
They ever fix the hackers in Apex or whatever?
I never experienced hackers in Apex. Maybe, or did you play it on PC? Maybe.
No, I don't play it, but I think it was like a year ago we had the PEX Pals podcast on to talk about Apex, and they were mostly complaining about the consistent amount of hackers that they were encountering.
I mean, I
A
only
year
played on
ago.
Xbox. I've
Yeah.
never experienced hackers once. There was a weird bug a while ago that has sadly been fixed, where sometimes there's like an issue with the netcode where you would get into what they call a slow lobby, where everything in the game just is in slow motion. So like you're probably like 100 to 200% slower, and the
That's
gravity
really
is
weird.
so like when you jump, for example, you get to the same height, but to get there takes like 4 times as long, and same with landing. And then the whole game will just be like that, and it just randomly happened.
That's pretty
Every
wild.
every like probably 50 games you would get a slow lobby. But it's patched now, so the fun's over.
All right.
Man, I want to talk about the Halo Infinite, the leaks. I guess they're not even really leaks, because but the Forge stuff. I want to talk
Yeah,
about
it
that
looks
for a second.
amazing.
God, I'm so excited. For everyone who isn't aware, like listening, go look up what you're capable of doing in the Forge mode. Like I know it's not coming for 27 years, and I'm going to be, living off of the government after that at period of time whenever I can play the Forge mode for Halo. But it's like you can make Master Chief like a million stories tall. Like you can scale things. You can make battle rifles like shoot rockets. Apparently, like you can really goof around with like everything. It's like how we remember Halo 3's Forge being. You know what I mean? Like it felt like we had endless possibilities
It's
with
like
like
Halo 2 mods, is what it looks like.
it's so exciting.
Yeah, it looks great. I think you'll see it sooner than you think, though, because like they've been playing the closed beta or closed the basically the insider build that you're getting these like leaks, quote leaks from. Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
controlled leaks. They've been playing that since like Halo Infinite came out. So it's been being played for a long time and being iterated on for a long time. I think you'll see it next season, like September, October. So I think it's
Yeah,
coming.
I follow the Twitter account. What's the opposite of Halo Plasma posting? The opposite one. I follow that one too. And so they're
Infinite
always like
Forge.
they're like Sacred Icon or something like that. I can't remember.
That
There
sounds
might be more
familiar.
than one. But they just keep posting like positive things about Halo going on. So it's almost always like Forge and like co-op and stuff. Like like I loved watching videos of people playing co-op and doing crazy stuff. Like if you're like so you were tethered together, so you can't like you can't go too far away from each other or you'll die. But the host is always the one that survives apparently. So they figured out that you can like slingshot each other if you grapple hook each other. So if you grapple hook each other in a certain way, you can always make sure that one person just gets sent flying across the map. And
Yeah.
so they always did it to the host, which insta killed the fucking the co-op partner. But then you're just like woo, fucking. It's
This
kind of like the thing with the fusion coils when you're
Sword
standing on
cancel.
top. Or yeah,
Oh
sword canceling. Heck yeah,
yeah.
dude. That's a good pull.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be great. Co-op's already pretty fun, and I can't wait for Forge. The question I have is like, how are players that don't make the maps and whatever, how are they going to access those creations? Because there's no custom games browser.
Oh yeah.
Is there going to be a file share system, or is there going to be like a website you can go to that's like somewhat curated? Like how are we going to be able to play those maps in custom games? And I think that's the question that they haven't answered yet. The scope and scale of Forge, I think, speaks for itself. I think it'll be fantastic, but it's not going to be great if people can't play the stuff that other people make, which is the big thing.
It's crazy because I'm just thinking back. I'm like, how did things spread on Halo 3? And it's like that stuff just spread like COVID. Like
And
you just had
Halo
to
3
meet
has
a
Person
a
to
person
person.
browser
with the
browser.
yeah, you just had to meet a person with with something cool in their file share and go, ooh, that's something that sounds interesting, and then you just
Yeah,
discovered. It's like
there was
I think
a
eventually, yeah, I think you're about to say it.
Yeah, sorry. There was a website that people would post their Forge things on, and then people would vote on them and upvote them, and then it kind of curated itself a little bit, and then it had a link to the person that made it, and then you would have to go into Xbox Live, add them as a friend, and then their friends list would be full, and then you had to find a way to get it. But in newer Halos, you could just like click download, and it would download that to your profile, which would sync with Waypoint, and then you would get it. So hopefully it's something like that, but we don't know.
I really hope they
Yep.
get their own little like tab on Halo Infinite where you can just start
Mhm.
browsing curated stuff. Like I think even like Doom Eternal has stuff like that, or whichever Doom had the little map making thing, which I don't think ever took off. But Halo's got a lot of
Map
potential
map.
for that, especially since it's such an integrated part of the experience. Like originally, like in Halo 3, like in the heyday, I mean Halo 3, Halo Reach. So it's like I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I hear a lot of complaints, like especially from YouTube accounts, like hardcore Halo YouTube accounts, like Chris Raygun and the Act Man, where they're constantly complaining about like even not only that there's like a lack of custom matchmaking, but also it's like it's like the servers are like significantly worse or something. Like there's some kind of weird like connectivity issue with like getting bunches of people together that aren't just randomly match made by the game's original matchmaking. It just kind of like everything starts to fall apart. So like they want to run big like Halo nights, but they always have to go to Master Chief Collection because it's so goofed over on Halo Infinite. Which I don't. I mean, and it's so nice over on Master Chief Collection too. So it's like I don't want to blame them, but
Yeah, I know they had issues at launch. I haven't experienced much issues with custom games, but when I play them, I'm usually playing them with people that are kind of close to my, I guess, data center, like on the East Coast. Um, MCC, I think might do it a little bit better. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I don't know. there's a lot of more complaining, I think, about Halo Infinite than it deserves by a lot, a very large margin. Let's
But
just
here's
make
a
that.
complaint for you. This is some from old Plasma posting. Did you guys see the tweet of? I don't remember what the question was exactly, but the reply from 343 was that they currently have no plans to monetize Forge mode. So, Nave, what if they had a dye pack for only $1 that lets you change the color of the brush assets or something to purple, like
Oh,
in Forge mode?
you're talking about like Fallout 4 level shit where they're just trying to like monetize tiny little things, like when they
Yeah,
try to
like,
monetize mods.
hey, you like we got Forge, you can go forging, but hey, what if you want to do a little bit extra in your Forge mode?
It would
God,
kill it.
that's real doomer. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I like it's really easy to just go, what if they did this horrible thing, and then convince yourself that it's probably gonna happen. So it's like, oh, I don't know. Like
Well,
I
this
did that
comes
way
in,
back
you
in the day.
paid for purple, Nave.
I remember way back in the day when Final Fantasy VII Remake got announced, everyone was like, it's going to be separated 69.99 or 79 or 59.99 for per CD. It's going to come out in like 20 years. Like people were prophets about that. And that really changed the way I think about, because people were like, Square Enix fucking sucks. Why would they do this good? Like, and it's like the game's gonna be bad. You're gonna buy Aerith as DLC, like the Revive Aerith DLC and shit
Oh
like that.
no.
Is gonna be like leveling up for money. It's like it's not as bad as it looked before, but they nailed the fucking separating the game by multiple parts. They fucking nailed it. Like I don't know how someone figured that shit out, but it's like I don't know. Anyway, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Let's just move on to the next section. Backlog busting. Nave playing Final Fantasy 13, and I'm on the final chapter, and I am at a
Still,
brick wall. Yes, that's it. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy 13. I'm gonna finish it the next 3 days, so I can report back to the pod that I was a good boy and I actually finished my games that I play. Because so oftentimes I don't finish the games I play, and lo and behold, I am not strong enough because I have not done any side questing or any of the bounty hunts or anything like that, and I am a weak boy. So I look up online. I'm like, all right, guys, what's the pro tip? How do I get there? And they're like, okay, there's this one enemy in the final chapter that you can kill, and he's worth tons of XP. Just go kill him. I look.
almost like
I'm
they
not.
knew about this problem in playtesting and they had to fucking scramble to fix it.
I thought so too, but he's at the end of a massive gauntlet that I can't get through because I'm not strong enough. And so I'm like,
Oh,
all right, I'm looking through everything else to be like, hey, how do I get stronger faster? And they're like, yeah, you just got to grind. There's this one part in chapter 3 where like you're just Zaz and Vanille and you're at like a carnival. I grinded here for about 4 hours and maxed them out. And I'm like, I don't want to grind for 4 hours. And then it's like, or you can just go explore the overworld, really enjoy the game. And I'm like, have you seen the overworld in Final Fantasy 13? It's a field. They have a field from Phantasy Star as their overworld where you just walk around and they just have mobs just meandering about. And I'm like talking to Jan about it. I'm like, now I just got to grind. And she's like, grinding's the worst part of this game. Because after like day 3 of playing this game, I just muted it. I just muted all the audio because I'm tired of hearing Vanille like, let's do it, guys. And every time they get hit. And it's just terrible. I
all the
need to finish this
exploding
game.
sounds and weird
But
dubstep noises that it makes. Yeah.
did you finish this one? Either of you?
Oh yeah.
I have not. I got, I think, probably a quarter of the way through. I honestly couldn't tell you why I stopped playing. Another game probably just came out. I don't really have any complaints about it, especially if you play it now on Series X, because like the backward compat upgrades are insane. Like the game runs at 4K and it looks gorgeous. It looks better than Xbox One games, a lot of them, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a long one, and there's two more after that.
I know,
Yeah.
like I'm at like hour 46 or something, and it's terrible because all the guides I'm looking at, I'm like, oh yeah, I just did about a grinding. I just spent a day grinding in the overworld, and I was able to max everyone out. And I look at his game time, and this guy's on like chapter 4, and he is at like 60 hours in the game, and I'm like, oh my god, that like was I supposed to be Pokemon like over leveling every step of the way just to finish the game?
Apparently,
I
it's
don't know.
interesting that
I used a guide the whole time. Like I used true achievements just to make sure that because I knew I wasn't gonna, as soon as I got stopped by that boss and quit the first time I played the game, I was already in the mentality of I'm not gonna finish this game if I don't just min max the whole way through, and I don't have the patience to figure out the fucking game. So it's like I'm just gonna have to let someone tell me exactly what to do, like a good boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting that that new game from the people that made The Messenger, I think it's called Sea of Stars. Like part of their marketing for the game, or like one of their bullet points, I guess, is that they like calculated how much XP you get from the regular like mainline progression for the game, and they made it so that there's no grinding required, and that's like some kind of positive. I think personally that's a positive, but I feel like grinding is like kind of part of the JRPG experience because like they've been doing it since like the 90s or earlier with like Dragon Quest whenever that came out, and no one like people complain, like you complain, I would complain, but the vast majority of people that enjoy those games don't seem to complain about mindless grinding.
Well,
So
I think it's part of like the difficulty modifier at that point. Like Pokemon's an easy game if you over level every zone before you get to each gym leader. Or if you look at, I don't know, Dragon Quest. Like Dragon Quest was really easy for me until the final boss because they expect you to be full power leveled. Like I'm talking about Dragon Quest 11
yeah,
Special Stars Edition or whatever it's called. In that one, you need to be max level and know your shit if you're going to beat the final boss of the game. So they have like auto battling for the whole game. You can just auto battle. And so I was very overpowered, max level by the end of the game. And I still haven't finished it because I can't beat the final boss.
yeah, there's huge difficulty spikes. Yeah, like I personally, the way I would play games like that is I would do all of the story content, like main and side quests. And typically, I feel like if I do the side quests and I do the main stuff, I should be able to beat anything in terms of my level. But a lot of times when I play JRPGs, even if you do the side quests and the main quest, the game expects you to just run around in bushes and fight monsters for hours on top of all of that. And when I notice that happening, I usually stop playing because I think that sucks. Yakuza Like a Dragon's perfect because it like there are a few issue or like moments in that game where if you are only doing the story, you'll get beat down by a boss, and then you wanted to go do some side stories, which like if you're not doing side stories in Yakuza, that's like crazy because like that's
Yeah.
they're part of the charm and one of the best parts of the game. But if you do those, or at least a handful of those, you're usually like in a position where you can beat any boss, which is I think how it should be.
Yeah, because a lot of playing Yakuza is just doing a handful of side missions as you're playing along, and then whenever you get to that point of no return, just going back and doing as many as you want to, kind
Hmm.
as a very strong boy. And so, you guys got me thinking about all those hours of grinding. It reminded me when I got the Xbox equivalent of a platinum for Final Fantasy VII whenever it got remastered and brought forward with all the cheat engine stuff. There's an achievement for getting everyone to level 99, and there's like a boss that gives you I mean, not a boss, but like a rando enemy that you can encounter towards the end of the game, gives you a ton of experience. And you've got like you got like 99, you got 9999 life where you can never die. You're always hitting 9 max damage, and with every attack, and you have the super speed that's going like 4 times speed, where the frame rate's like 600 or something, and so the game's going so fast and you can't die, and so you're just assassinating these dudes, and it still took me like an entire episode of Joe Rogan to fucking get to level 99. Like I'm just sitting there grinding, just, and I don't even need the levels, I just want the achievement because I'm like, this game means a lot to me, let's go and get all the achievements in it. But yeah, those JRPG experiences are nuts. It kind of bit me because I've been hyping this game called Amori. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game. Have you heard of this game, Eric?
Yeah, I have it installed. I haven't booted it up yet though.
It's very
It's
good,
kind
but
of it's
I've gotta warn you now because it's happened to me, and it seems to be happening to a good handful of people that this game has the potential to erase your saves and like revert them back to like saves from, I don't know, like 15 hours ago. So I was like very very far into the game. Like I've seen all the revelations. I was like just trying to get to the end, and I stopped playing one day. I'm probably like, I don't know, 25 28 hours into the game, and which I can't tell because the game does quick resume, and so my time was like 89 hours, so that was wrong. But I came back in the game. I was like level 12. I was way back. I didn't realize, so I was playing for a while, wondering where all my skills were and stuff. But I was over leveling that in that game too. So the game was, it kind of contributes to that difficulty thing where that game wasn't so hard for me. I was just kind of steamrolling everything because I was like just grinding for a little bit, just talking to Melissa, playing a game of chess, just because it's these turn-based games, they lend themselves to that kind of play style, like that kind of idle game where you could just kind of forget that the game is playing for a little while and it's totally fine, rather than dying instantly if you're playing Final Fantasy 12, right? Because the game will just kill you if you're standing still. Well, yeah, Omori's really good though. I think you should play it. I'm glad you downloaded it.
Is that a bug or a feature where it
A
reverts
bug.
you?
It's
Okay.
basically a feature now because it's been around for years. Apparently, it's like on the Steam version. Apparently, the only way you could fix it is on the Steam version because you can be on PC. You can just
Back up your save, revert
back up your
the
save.
files.
Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
All right,
So it's
Nave,
very
what did you
painful.
buy?
Nothing. I think
Okay, perfect.
Monsters.
Yeah,
Monster Energy
drinks.
drinks. A lot of paper towels. Yep.
All right, at this point, I want to thank our Patreon subscribers, Michael Superbacker and Pinecone. Couldn't do without you boys. And instead of going and checking out our Patreon, dear co-op listeners, how about we go check out Game Positive and give them some listens. Nave has his featured Insert Coin episode on there, and he was on a more recent episode talking about game feelings or something. I don't know. I didn't listen to it. Sorry.
Nave was on the episode where we were reacting to Xbox's E3 conference, and he was also on the more recent episode where we talked about the weird ways that Game Pass affects us outside of simply just getting a shit ton of games for a really low price.
Perfect. Nave, what's on the Twitter?
Nothing. I didn't wake up.
Let's take a break and then we'll hit the game.
Wonderful.
And we're back. Elder Scrolls Online. Developed by ZeniMax Online Studios. Let me be specific with that because they are a separate team from the other ZeniMax peoples. Published by Bethesda Softworks. All the way back on consoles is June 2015. This game is the MMO Elder Scrolls, something we've been waiting for since Morrowind. And I'm not talking about like co-op Morrowind, which is is the real Elder Scrolls MMO. Let's get it, let's be real about it.
Did you see the co-op Skyrim? Is that out yet? I think it's pretty close to getting out.
Back in the day, me and Shadow tried playing co-op Skyrim when the mod was in really early development, and it barely worked. If I say barely worked, as in it didn't work, but we were able to see each other in the overworld.
God, can you like Fostro each other? Because that sounds like a nightmare.
No, like our enemies were like instanced away from us, so it would be like you had to fight your own enemies, but you could still see each other. It was almost like Fable 2 style co-op, but we're just orbs. You know, like we're not actually in each other's world.
Anyways, I don't know why, but that makes me think of No Man's Sky. I don't even know what even connects to that, but
let's go around with a quick kind of like preconceptions or history with the game. Eric, what is your history with Elder Scrolls Online?
Well, my history with Elder Scrolls is similar to you, where I start with Morrowind, and I think that's one of the best RPGs of all time, and the rest of them are also really good too. Elder Scrolls Online, I actually played the beta, and I thought it was awesome. I didn't buy it originally because I wanted to play it on console, and originally the PC version came out like a year before console.
Yeah.
And then in that year time where I was waiting for the console version, other stuff came out. I think it was Destiny came out, and I really didn't play much. They ended up having some free weekends, and the game was heavily discounted, and eventually came on Game Pass, and so I did start dabbling into it well after it came out. The Morrowind DLC was probably the main driving force behind that. But I even that I didn't play at launch because I was like at that point I was like all in on Destiny. I think that the PC version was like 2000. I think you actually said this, and I can't remember, but I think the PC version came out like right around the same time as Destiny, and the console version was like a year in, or maybe I'm off by a year or so. But
sure.
yeah, Destiny was 2014. Destiny really kind of like took me. It even took me out of World of Warcraft, which is like my favorite MMO. Destiny hooked me really hard, and it was very hard for me to get into any MMO or any multiplayer game for that matter. So I kind of had a rough start with ESO, but I have played a lot of it in like small amounts over the almost 10 years, I guess, that's been out.
Yeah, just on consoles. I don't know how accurate the game time tracker is on Xbox, but I think it listed you around like 4 days or so of in-game time.
Yeah, and none of that was like at one point, like heavily at one point. It would be like 10 hours here, then a few months later, like I would get the urge again, and like so on and so forth for several years. So I think I have a good amount of knowledge on the game, and I could definitely articulate my critiques for it, as well as the things that I would praise about it. But yeah, I guess that would be my experience with it.
And boy, there are some critiques. Nave, what is your history with ESO or just Elder Scrolls in general?
Yeah, I started on Morrowind. I was too small of a baby to understand. I'd never played a Western RPG, so when I on the back of the case, I remember seeing at a Hastings with my madre. She was gonna buy me a game, and I saw this was the best RPG in existence, or whatever the fuck the Game of the Year says on the back, and I was like, I've got to have it. If it's the best one, this is the one I need. And so
Exactly.
I had experience with Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII. I knew those were RPGs just from game exchange employees telling me that's what they were called. And so I got Morrowind, and I had no idea what the hell was going on. And so I put it down very fast. I was getting killed by those cliff racers or whatever, and I didn't understand how the hitting was not working. And so, uh, as far as ESO goes, well, Oblivion is my favorite game, by the way, of all the Elder Scrolls. I have such a soft spot for Oblivion. It's in the same time frame as Halo 3, where it has this very nostalgic, feel good, me coming to terms with being a gamer kind of thing. Not that I was in denial, but that I just didn't know what I liked. I was kind of aimless as a child. But I've discovered video games with Philip and Steven from high school, and uh, Oblivion was there for me, along with Mass Effect and, I don't know, Bioshock. But
Kane and Lynch. Yep, I know.
yeah, Kane and Lynch, seminal Xbox
Is that the
360 game.
Platinum Hits copy of
Yeah,
the Xbox?
I got the back of the box quote for you, Nave, if you want to relive your Hastings experience.
Let me close my eyes. Let me get on my knees so I'm short. Oh, wait, my
Alright.
eyes are closed, so I won't even notice, but whatever.
It says, "The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind is the most detailed game world ever created, where you create and play any kind of character you can imagine. Morrowind sets a new standard in gaming with its incredible graphics, in-depth gameplay, and innovative character development." Todd Howard, circa 2002.
Nailed it. It hasn't
Todd Howard
changed.
never lie.
All that's true, by the way. That game's one of the best RPGs of all time.
Yeah,
I was
so
debating on doing some chanting like quietly, but I didn't want to throw it off. I'd be like, "Oh,
dude, that soundtrack slaps though.
It's one of
it's
the
very
best
good.
parts of the game.
It's really good. I started listening to the soundtrack ironically because of Phil. I would just put it on when I was playing a random game, and then I like legitimately fell in love with it, even though I had no nostalgia for it. It is very interesting.
I have a Spotify playlist I created that's called Every Scrolls, and it has every Elder Scrolls soundtrack, including all the chapters and expansions to ESO, all mixed into one. So shout out to that. You can go check that out on Spotify.
So my quick history with the game. Big Elder Scrolls fan all the way back since Morrowind. Never played like Arena or Daggerfall, but I see there's like a Unity version of Daggerfall and it's like free. So I keep thinking about breaking into, but who has the time?
Daggerfall's bigger than Starfield.
Yeah, it looks massive. ESO is particular though. I played the beta back in the day, and I just remember seeing everyone in the spawn zone, just like as I was there, like right as the beta started, and everyone's just rushing through Cold Harbor, and there's just like 40 dudes trying to fight one mob, and I'm like, this is incredible. This is how I pictured MMOs the first time I played RuneScape or the first time I played World of Warcraft. I'm like, this is what I thought it was going to be like. Cut to 10 years later, or how many years later it's been. Elder Scrolls is a completely different beast. You still see lots of dudes running around, just like murdering the crap out of things, but it's a little bit more reserved at this point. A little more wandering and less dungeon with 40 dudes in it.
Does everyone remember their first experience in Elder Scrolls Online? Since Philip brought up his.
I don't know. Oh yeah, what's yours then, Nave?
Well, I just remember. So I played it on the Xbox, like way deep. It was like I think they released an expansion. It might have been Morrowind, and they just gave it away to Game Pass. They were just like, it's on Game Pass today or something. I don't remember. So I was able to jump in immediately, and I started playing it. And I was in a party with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but I was walking around just talking mad shit to everybody, which is something that has just become my favorite thing to do in Morrowind. I walk up to someone and I go, "Your character looks stupid. What is your name? Optimus Scrime? Dumb. Idiotic. spit on it, and I would walk away. And I didn't know that there was local chat. I didn't know people could hear me doing this, like running around yelling at all of these people. So eventually I'm talking shit and I hear someone go, ha ha ha, ha, that guy knows what's up. And I'm like, yeah, see, this guy knows. And I'm like, I don't know where he's at, but I'm like, that guy knows what I'm talking about. And I'm just continuing to roast this guy. And this guy runs up to me. He's like, hey, you're funny, man. And I'm just continuing to, I don't know what the fuck, I don't know what I'm hearing. So I'm just continuing. And then he says my name. I'm like, I feel that stomach drop. Like, oh shit, people can hear me. I'm like just drinking beers, just being funny on just to my friend on in the Xbox party. But after I learned that, I think eventually they switched it to toggle where you're not immediately turned on and like you don't immediately hear everyone. But I always had that shit turned on because it is, you find the most interesting people who are on Elder Scrolls at 6 a.m, like drinking and singing like karaoke with each other in the middle of town. It is like the weirdest fucking place, and I'm in for it. I'm there with them.
I remember going through like Stormhold at one point, and in this, general chat that is general mic chat, and they were just blasting music through their headset, and we were listening to Green Day. Everyone's just standing around this one character by the stable, just like blasting Green Day. I'm like, this is what we're doing right now? Just straight chilling?
It was interesting because, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's hilarious because my first experience is literally the same thing where I went into Strauss Mackay and there's just like a circle of people that are just like singing in their mics. And like there's emotes that are in the game that like your character will play like different instruments and make music with them, and people were just combining that and just like singing. Like that's the first thing I experienced when I went into the major towns as well. Like that's everybody I think's first experience with ESO, which is pretty funny.
So whenever I get bored like these days, I do a handful of things. I'll start playing chess. I'll grab my guitar, and sometimes my guitar bleeds through because sometimes I'm playing right next to my amp, so it has no choice but to bleed through into my headset. And so I was just standing at a way shrine while Philip and Melissa and Jana are all doing, because we were getting the whole group together. We were getting everyone involved, and they were doing dungeons and running around doing delves and stuff. And I'm just in the middle of the Shire, wherever the fuck city I'm at, just playing my guitar. And I keep hearing people talk about it as they walk by. They're like, hey, someone's playing their guitar. And then they just keep going. Like they just, because there's like distance. Like if they're far away, they're quieter. It's so funny. Like, I don't know. It makes me think of old Halo 2 and Halo 3. You remember proximity chat? That was, you kill someone, they're like, damn it. And you're just like, you died, you suck. But
it's a lost art in games today, man. That's one of the big
group
highlights
chat
for ESO. There's just proximity chat with random strangers. I remember the best was Splinter Cell because as a spy you could grab the merc and talk to them. And it was so good. Like they can't really hear you until you grab them, but then once you grab them, you can be like, "Hey, bitch, gotcha."
Dude, that's so funny. That had to have been, because by that time, like, I remember G4 TV, they had this thing called Secret Agent Bob and Special Agent Steve, and they would was always a running joke where they would grab somebody and they would just be like, your hair smells like ginger.
Yeah,
it's just like, it's so weird.
It's so good, man. It was like, that's why that game was part of the reason, I should say, because it is a phenomenal game, but that's part of the reason why Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory were so awesome, was because of that social interaction that is completely lost today because everyone's in a party chat, which is, I'll extrapolate more on why that makes ESO bad or worse, I guess, than other MMOs. But yeah, that proximity chat is really good.
I remember one time I got thrown by it where we were just like standing around and I'm like talking in a party chat with Nave or whatever. And then I hear a little kid, so what's his face got a popsicle? Can I have one too? And I'm like, Nave, do you have little kids at your house? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, who's that kid asking for popsicles at your house?
The chocolate milk kid. Do you remember that from Rainbow Six?
No, I missed that one.
That's a deep cut meme, but they're basically, they were in a lobby in Rainbow Six, and this kid was like freaking out because it was his bedtime, and he was trying to like stall, and his mom, or he was telling his mom like, you told me I could have a drink before I have to go to bed, and then she's like, fine, what do you want? He's like, I want chocolate milk. She's like, we don't have chocolate milk, we only have Mountain Dew. He's like, I don't want Mountain Dew, and they're just recording this kid freaking out. And he's like, I want goddamn chocolate milk. If you Google chocolate milk kid, it's like maybe like a year or two older than like Leroy Jenkins. Like that's how old of a meme that is.
It's
That's
funny because
outstanding.
I just randomly saw like a Counter Strike, like original Counter Strike meme. I think I retweeted it. There's like an article about it, and it had the video attached. It was like guys running around, and he's like they're knifing each other, which is classic Counter Strike because you can't knife your teammates at the beginning, and then it's like uh, you're running around, he's running around knifing him, and then he gets stuck at the door, and he's like, "Oh man, I was trying to sneak through the door, but I couldn't. Hey man, can you move I can't get through this door. Hey, I can't get the door's stuck. The door is stuck. God, please, please, I'm begging you. We're dead." And then enemies show up, but he can't get through the door because he's
Why?
pinned. And I'm just like, I love that old shit. And there's something about the shitty mic quality and the shitty netcode, so
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
sounds like garbled nonsense. There's something about it that's just so nostalgic because everything just sounds like this is how I sound in the podcast. This is just my Xbox headset. This is how I sound all the time to Philip. So it's like as far as he knows, this is what my voice is. But I remember Sacred Symbols, Chris Reagan has his own like Discord channel, and on one of the voice chats, there's a bot that turns everyone's voices into old Xbox original sounding headsets, so everyone
God.
sounds like they're in a Halo 2 lobby, and I
That's
want
so
to
good.
experience that so bad. I bet that's so fun.
All right, ESO, a game about walking and killing random wildlife. Let's talk about what we do in the game. So in the game, MMO, you craft, you level up, you get daily rewards, and this game is full of microtransactions. I don't know if you guys encountered any in your experience, but I feel like I was getting an ad pretty consistently every time you log in, every time you do most of the menu related things. There was always an ad for something. What's your guys' take on its overall economy with that?
Yeah, so the game originally, when it originally came out, had a monthly subscription like World of Warcraft, and its entire kind of content stream was designed around that. Obviously, the game, like for whatever reason, whether it didn't live up to expectations or maybe they just thought that this would be more profitable, they switched to like an optional subscription. So how it works is every year they release a chapter, which is like the big chunk in DLC. Like that's what Morrowind was, and like Somerset and High Isle and stuff like that. And then they usually have 4 DLCs is what they call them, which are just like mini kind of expansions that come out throughout the year. And if you can subscribe and get all of those DLCs for free, everyone that's ever come out, or you can get and then you buy the chapters individually, which is a really good value. You get a ton of value from that because there's so much content in the game. I personally, if you do plan on playing it for more than just a dabbling, I would recommend subscribing to ESO Plus because they also give you some in-game currency, which is called crowns, which you could use to permanently own some of the DLC or buy chapters and stuff like that. But the thing that really annoys me is that if you do subscribe on top of all that content, which is great, you also get like an infinite inventory size.
Oh, the
Because
crafting bag, yeah.
crafting bag, sorry, to put all the crafting materials, which is what usually fills up your inventory.
Yeah.
And like that bugs me because that is a feature that doesn't really cost them anything. It's kind of designed to annoy you, to kind of entice you into subscribing, where I do think it's worth subscribing because the content you get is awesome. And I think that the subscription should be warranted based on that alone. And I do kind of despise the kind of built-in annoyances to kind
Yeah.
of convince you to subscribe. I have no issue subscribing to World of Warcraft. I think the subscription is absolutely worth it for what you get. And I would feel the same way about ESO if that was what it was. And then also on top of that, you have a ton of like cosmetics that you can get, or loot boxes, which is kind of weird to still see that happening. But in an MMO where the chase is to get gear and to get like fashion is a big part of any persistent world. Destiny, fashion's important. Warframe, World of Warcraft, all Diablo, all those things, like what you look like is a big part of the gameplay loop because that's you're trying to get the gear the whole time. And to have a lot of those motifs, those crafting motifs and different other cosmetics be locked behind paywalls is a little bit annoying. But there are significantly worse games out there for that. And I wouldn't necessarily put the cash shop as a deterrent to playing. Like I wouldn't not play because of that. I don't think it's that egregious, but it is a little bit annoying, I would say.
Yeah, it's weird how they create the problem and then sell you the answer for it.
Yeah.
It got to a point where I was like, whenever I played this on PC way before, and I played a lot, and I was like doing all the crafting and everything like that. And I got to a point where I realized that it was not possible for me as a free player to do all the crafting just because of the amount of resources it takes to maintain it. So I'm like, I had to like slim down to like 3 of the crafting. And then when I started again on a new account on console, because there's no carryover, different servers, all that, I instantly like, okay, I am only going to do blacksmithing just so I don't run out of bag space every 2 seconds. And I knew which resources were blacksmithing resources because they're clearly labeled. So I would just never pick up anything if it wasn't a blacksmithing resource. And so I managed to, I don't know, not fill up my inventory that often. Also, I would log in every day before we even played the game. For like a month in advance, I would log in every day to get your one daily free bag upgrade from the horsey guy. And meanwhile, Nave is also logging in and getting the other upgrade that makes your horsey go 1% faster. And I'm like, why, Nave? You can get one more bag slot. So you're not always full of inventory stuff.
Yeah, and he never told me a lot of important things. Like I think he was just like, "Hey, you can upgrade your horse over there," and I was like, oh, "Okay, cool. Well, obviously, I'm just gonna make it faster. I don't know what else you would upgrade a horse for. I don't know what the bag is, but I'm not gonna put anything on the horse itself, like it's like Red Dead Redemption. And this isn't what I'm playing this game for.
What's it? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna keep rambling because Philip walked away.
Oh,
Good.
yeah. Well, what I was going to say is what's kind of interesting is like, and this is going to be a preface. I love World of Warcraft. I think it's one of my favorite games ever. Well, I don't think that it is. I think it might be the best multiplayer game of all time. There's debates that I could have about that internally. So I'm going to compare ESO to World of Warcraft a lot. And I'm going to start doing that right now. In World of Warcraft, obviously, you have crafting and you have bags to put your materials in. And there is there is no infinite bag like they do have in ESO if you subscribe to the plus monthly subscription. But in in World Warcraft, you start with a very small or a pretty big backpack, but no additional bags. And to get more bags, you have to play the game. You have to either craft a bag yourself by farming materials and getting the expertise to do so, get gold and buy one from another player on the auction house, or maybe interact with other players and like convince them to craft you one, or hand them the supplies, or pay them gold to do it for you. And you can get bigger bags by like interacting with the world and its inhabitants. You don't get extra storage or space by like logging in every day.
Yeah.
Which again will tie you closer to the world. It forces you to interact with players, which is, in my opinion, the whole entire point of an MMO. I think World of Warcraft is an MMORPG, and I think Elder Scrolls Online is a Elder Scrolls MMO, where Elder Scrolls comes first, MMO comes second, and World of Warcraft is the reverse of that. Which that's something that we'll get into probably a lot more later on. But it's interesting because there is a problem with running out of bag space in pretty much every MMO. Warcraft has this, but I have no issues with their system, even though I do run out of space all the time and have to go like sell stuff to the auction house or sell stuff to vendors or just drop stuff and delete stuff because I have no space. But I don't have this like kind of thought in the back of my head where it's like, if I could pay money and not have this problem. And that makes me more mad than just having the problem and having no real solution to getting infinite storage. It's kind of a weird way that my brain works, I guess. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
It makes me think of
Yeah.
like when Philip was talking about making the problem and then giving you a solution by making you pay for it. It makes me think of Tales of Arise a little bit, because that was something that came up a whole lot, because you can buy extra experience buffs and you can buy extra gold and you can buy like extra space for items, because like you can, in that game, you can hold up to 10 healing items, or you can buy a 99 upgrade so that you can have 99 in this like
With
single
real
player
money?
JRPG. Yes, which I did
Oh,
because
I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
really dumb.
it's really interesting, because like with the money situation, I never really had money, because I mean I dropped the bag on this game. I thought this game was going to be, I don't know. It looked really cool, and I love Tales games, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll get all this random bullshit, because I think a lot of Tales games, like ever since Vesperia, I think they had like experience boosts and stuff like that. What it is it's literally just things that you unlock after you beat the game and you play New Game Plus. You can like purchase these things in the in-game store, like with the you all the stuff you did during the campaign money. You know what I mean? Kind of like
Yeah.
Resident Evil. Oh, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So people were wondering. It's like, are they balancing this game with the idea that you're never going to have enough money to purchase enough healing items to survive specific late game events unless you spend real life money in order to upgrade to 99? Because I literally never had a problem. I just walked straight through that game with, because I bought all of the stuff. I bought all the stupid shit that you shouldn't be buying and supporting, but I did it anyway because back then I had a roommate, so I was able to like splurge on games. But it's like, yeah, that's exactly another game that reminds me of. I've been watching Moist Critical play a knockoff of Fall Guys called it's like Tumble Dudes or something like that. I can't remember.
Classic.
And it's like, so in Fall Guys you can grab people. Well, you can't grab people in that game. It's locked behind a paid emote. Like you have to pay money to get the emote to grab people. And there's also a punch that you have to buy the battle pass and get to the end of the battle pass in order to punch people. And so Charlie was like, I want to see what the competitive scene is like. Let's go look at tournaments. And there are tournaments in this game. And of course, everyone is punching each other. So it's like you have to punch. That is the meta, is to punch people whenever you're near them. So it's like you are decking people. Like it's just like Fall Guys, where if you get hit by something, even by a glancing blow, you go tumbling away into the fucking like a Team Rocket blasting off. That's what happens to people.
That is ridiculous
Not
and
good.
scary. Yeah, I don't like to hear that. Let's talk about all the different little gameplay features. So, of course, we have the overworld, which is full of an insane amount of questing in ESO. Like, you go into a zone, and each zone has its own story. There's also an overstory that covers the whole Cold Harbor Cyrodiil invasion type thing going on. I don't know. I never did the main story because I always
guess what? It's single player only. So I didn't do it either because that was bullshit. I wanted to play this MMO with my buds, and forcing me to be by myself, that's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah. So the overworld's nice though because it's almost like pick your own poison. Even though everything is not crazy varied, I remember back in the day when I was playing it with Jana, I just dominated all of the Morrowind DLC because I'm like, oh, this is just like Morrowind. Hey, look, there's even like a Soul Stone, or the Sky Shard. It's on top of the barrel where you get the healing ring that you're supposed to give to Fagnar or whatever. I don't remember his name. That little wood elf at the beginning.
Yeah,
like I'm like, this is awesome. And you get to meet Vivek, and all of a sudden they're talking about the Neverine, and there's the old wise
Vivek
women
was
of
so
the.
Cool. Yo, can we gush about Morrowind for a little bit? Because, dude, it looked great. I was like, I just wandered around the intro area, just going, "Oh my god, this is where that guy fell. Oh my god, this is where I died to cliff racers."
It's so freaking good. It's so beautiful too. Like I stood at as soon as I got off the boat, I just stared at the census office, and I was just like,
yes,
holy shit.
I didn't recognize it. I was like, where am I? I was like, what part of the island is this? And I went inside, and I knew where I was when I went inside. And then I came back out, and I was like, this is the census office. This is this.
Yeah, dude, it's great. And just to quickly touch on the questing, because I think questing in this game is its like biggest, like best quality. Because if you've played an MMO before and you've done MMO quests, like you've probably killed 10 bears and got 5 of their hearts and turned it into some guy who's like needs them for some reason.
He needs a lot of bear hearts.
Yeah, and you don't know why. And it's not. There are some quests like that in this game.
Don't check his basement.
But for the most part, like the quests may start out that way, and they'll evolve into these like really interesting stories, and everything's fully voice acted. And there's like Phil said, there's like a massive story that takes place over like the whole continent, and then each zone has like a story arc that has like a beginning, middle, and end all the way through in that zone. And then in that zone, there's also like different other self-contained side quest stories, and most quests, if not all quests, are like several parts long, and they tell a story. Long. They introduce characters. There's betrayals that happens. The person that gives you the quest may end up betraying you, and you have to like get revenge, and like all kinds of this. There's just really, really good storytelling that happens in the questing in this game. And I personally think that if you're an Elder Scrolls fan but you don't like MMOs, you could play this as a single player RPG and get probably a better story than any Elder Scrolls game. If you look at especially in the later chapters, with probably better combat, I think you would agree, than what you get in like Skyrim or Oblivion, because you're not just like pressing right trigger until something's dead.
What gets me is just the amount of player choice you have in this too, because Nave was blown away. Like, you spent a lot of time in Vardenfell or Morrowind or whatever, and I remember playing like, all right, I already played the crap out of Morrowind. I want vampires because I know there's vampires in all the all the Skyrims in Skyrim 2, there's always vampires. So I'm like looking at all the zones, like which one of these is gonna have vampires? I found one called like Ravenspire or something like that. I'm like, that's the one. That's the vampire land. I go there and instantly like, hey, I'm a vampire overlord. And like 200 years ago, my sister was killed by a betrayed of an evil lich Argonian or something like that. And I'm like, this is what I was looking for. They knew exactly
Yeah,
what
dude.
I wanted. And then I'm like up there and I'm like, every once in a while I'll be like, guys, I got a world boss over here. I'm gonna need backup. And then instantly Nave and Melissa and Jana would like teleport in. We go, we take out the delve or the world boss or whatever, all the group stuff in the area, and I'm like, thanks, bye. And then I would go back to my normal questing, and we would just do
And I
that
would
for
just
hours.
stand there playing guitar.
Yeah.
Just not
And you
move.
can make decisions in those quests that will change the outcome and change like who may live or die or who likes you and doesn't like your so even what rewards you end up getting at the end of it. Like it's a real Elder Scrolls game, like 100%. It dials back kind of the interaction with the world. Like you can't just pick up a pot and put it on someone's head and now they can't see you and rob them. You can't do
You
that.
can't see me.
Yeah, but like pretty much every box is lootable, every corpse is lootable. You can open a lot of the doors, not every door, but like the level of interaction in this game is usually is beyond what I would say most MMOs offer. And the storytelling and questing experience is probably the best in. I mean, maybe Final Fantasy 14 may say something about that, but it's definitely one of the best questing experiences you can have in an MMO. And you can go into this without the MMO aspect in mind and just play it as an Elder Scrolls game, which I don't think people realize. I think a lot of Elder Scrolls fans that aren't like multiplayer gamers or MMO fans, I think they think of this as an MMO and they think World of Warcraft and they think like Final Fantasy and they don't like that and they don't try it. And I think that if you are an Elder Scrolls fan and you just try this, it's on Game Pass, it's very cheap other places as well. I think you'll actually really enjoy it.
Philip, I can't believe Eric is poo-pooing all over RuneScape.
Is
He
he?
hasn't even mentioned it.
Oh yeah. So we were gonna do this whole episode basically in response to our RuneScape episode, and
Yeah, you remember that, guys? Like, 6 months ago when
yeah,
we were planning on doing that?
honestly, I think this game is much better than RuneScape. Like, not even close.
Can't believe it.
Anyways, so we like that's the outside quest, and you can pretty much be done solo. One thing you can't do solo really is the group dungeons. And Nave didn't even know there was a dungeon finder, like an instance finder or whatever. So I logged in.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
had
Nave,
like
what's
26 hours in this game, and I had done one dungeon that I just stumbled upon. And so
in
I
the
was like, hey,
overworld?
Moses, let's do that. And so me and her just by ourselves, just two of us, and I'm like level 13. I barely have any skills or abilities. We just stumbled through this dungeon, just dying 100 times, just trying to get through it. And Philip is like, hey, let's do our dailies. And I'm like, I already did it. And Philip was like, well, let's do it with me then. And I'm like, okay. And we're waiting for like 10 minutes. And Philip was like, Nay, why haven't you started the dungeon finder? And I'm like, what are you talking about, Philip? What does that mean? And Philip suddenly realized, and that's around the time also that Philip realized I was buying speed upgrades for my horse rather than the bag upgrades. He realized I wasn't going to the bag merchant to purchase large scale bag upgrades. He realized a lot of things I wasn't doing.
Yeah, like
When
he's
he
like struggle moding this game, and I mean, I'm like, dang, did you not read any of the tutorial boxes that pop up?
No, dude, what do you look like? I'm playing a video game so I don't have to read.
And
All
they're
right,
all fully voice acted quests, so you really don't have to read much.
so the dungeons, they're what's interesting about it is a lot of them are 3-tier dungeons where it's like, hey, this is the level 5 or like 10 through 15. You get Heart of Bone chapter 1, and then once you reach level 25 through 30, you get Heart of Bone 2, Heart of Bone 3, and it is a continuous story that you slowly unlock as you're leveling up. And it takes a while to level up in this game. It's not crazy fast, but I love some of the settings we went through. Some of them are kind of like okay, like it was like, oh, this is a dwarven Egyptian ruins that we have to go through and defeat bandits and lions and stuff. That one was okay. But then we cut to the Heart of Bone ones, which I really enjoyed, where you're fighting demi liches that are summoning like these meat bone monsters that are abominations, and they're just blood is pouring out of the walls. I'm like, this is awesome. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I thought the like aesthetics of the dungeons and like right in line with the rest of the game. Like the dungeons have their own self-contained stories usually, or sometimes they're part of a bigger zone story, which is really nice. And you get the quest givers in the dungeon, so even if you matchmake into one, you can start the quest and hear the dialogue and go on that adventure and whatnot. But what I don't like about them is two things, because I'm going to compare this to World of Warcraft again, classic World of Warcraft. One, there's no difficulty to the dungeons. It might have been
Yep.
difficult if you went in with 2 players, because it's designed for 5 players.
Yeah.
But you can face roll every single dungeon. After the one terminal update, there's no level requirements for the dungeons that you can matchmake into, like, or sorry, not level requirements, but like gear requirements. You're probably never going to die. You're probably never going to fail. You don't need to really know how to play. You could just spam an ability, and sometimes you don't even have to do anything. The other people will just kill this stuff for you, which I don't really enjoy for obvious reasons. I think like having to use your brain and play the game is fun for the most part for most games. But the other thing I don't like is that there's really no interaction now with other players. So like you guys have played a bunch recently, and it sounds like you played a lot of the game like in a party with each other. So outside of talking to yourselves in your party chat, how much, like what percentage would you say of your time did you spend interacting with other people, like talking to them, sending them a message, asking them for help, like telling them things that, or like just having like an interaction, a social interaction with somebody who was not in your Xbox party chat?
I think as far as like percentage wise of our game time, I think I was probably the one that had the most like togetherness game time, and it was usually because I was playing with Melissa and or Philip, and so it was like the experience of playing with me was Melissa would just sprint after me as I kind of just ADHD, just I was like that way. I just had Fallout Skyrim vision. I just was like, there's a waypoint, I'm going that way now. And so I would just sprint around, and she's on like an Xbox original Xbox One, right? And so there were multiple times where she had to debate, do I even way shrine to him, or it's like, do I follow him into this house, because by the time I load into that house, he's already outside of the house running away because I'm on an Xbox Series X and I'm like instantly loading into each like little area. And so it's like that was mostly what our experience kind of boiled down to. And then it was like the way the world bosses and stuff, that was probably one of my favorite things, which is something we brought up in our Fantasy Star Universe episode as well, where there are these like events that happen where like, or it's like a Destiny as well, where like everyone can see on the map that there's some shit over there, and everyone's kind of going around grinding for things. And so I would stand around at a world boss that was already dead, just waiting for it to respawn, and then like Rando McRanderson would show up and like in the middle of a fight just start helping us fight this thing, and I'm just like, oh, well, thank God, because this spider keeps spawning all these mobs, and I don't have any good AoE attacks because I don't know how to build a character yet. And so, like, there were a lot of moments where we got like randos just to randomly show up, but for the most part, besides matchmaking, we very rarely interacted with.
If I told you that that rando was an NPC, would you believe me? Like
Yeah,
outside of knowing his name is like some stupid Xbox Live name, but like, so that's kind of what I was getting at. So in World of Warcraft Classic, like I did a raid last night and a dungeon before that. If you want to do a dungeon, first of all, there's no matchmaking, so you literally have to go into towns or into the chats and like ask
LFG.
if anybody wants to join or whatever. Secondly, you have to like actually communicate in the dungeons because there's
yeah.
mechanics and different things that players have to do. And you meet people that way, and even just questing. A lot of times there's quests where they're designed that you need to find someone to help you with this, unless you're severely over leveled. Which, if you're in the zone that you're in, you're probably not over leveled, because in World of Warcraft they don't have one Tamriel where everything just scales to you, and you can go and do a quest where you have to kill 10 chickens, or you can go and do a quest where you have to kill like a demigod of destruction. And if you're level 1, it doesn't matter. You could kill both of them. They both have to feel like they have the same amount of health, which really takes me out of the world. It limits how much you need to interact with the world. And an MMO, the whole point of it is, in my eyes anyway, like there's obviously dissenting opinions, but the whole point of it is to be in a world and interact with the world, and the people that are playing are the bulk of what that interaction should be. And when I queue into a dungeon in ESO, I don't talk to anybody. I just follow the leader and just spam my abilities, and I have no interaction with anybody. And then it will teleport me out, and I just go back to doing the quest, which provides zero challenge because there's no challenge in the game until you get to the end, where you can go into veteran versions of the dungeons or raids or whatnot. But everything you do in the game, and this is probably a positive for a lot of people, but everything you do in the game requires literally no gear, no talents, no skills, no anything. You can just have your level 1 equipment, your level 1 spells, and you can pretty much dummy everything because everything just scales to what you are at that point. Whereas it used to be that you would spawn in the noob zone and you'd be able to kill those things because they are at your level. But if you went to a more advanced zone that's meant for higher levels, you'll get destroyed. And then on the flip side, if you get to that level and come back to the noob zone, now you're a demigod and you can just destroy everything that gave you issues in the past. And that shows you your progression and that gives you that feeling of gaining power. Whereas in ESO, the story's great and it's worth playing for that alone, but you don't get that progression. You don't get that feeling of interacting with the world outside of seeing people in town singing on their proximity mics and whatnot.
Yeah.
You don't have to interact with people to get things done. You can just do everything yourself. Everything's an instance and everything is just, that's why I call it an Elder Scrolls MMO, because the Elder Scrolls comes first. And that's for me, not what I want in an MMO.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. The PvE is pretty doo-doo a lot of times with how strong the scaling is. Like, it really does not matter what level you are. You can beat pretty much anything if you're determined. Now, did you play the Cyrodiil zone any?
The PvP zone? I did, and I think it seems awesome, like in theory, but maybe it was different when you played it, but when I played it, because like you queue in, there's different versions of it. There's the 0 to like 50 or whatever
Yes.
the like noob version of it is, and then there's like the version for people that are at the max level. But when I queued into the noob version, there's just no one there. There was guards that would just dummy me because they're designed to have
It's meant to be
multiple
like a
players.
raid. Yeah.
It's meant to be like a raid, but I have no team. I have no other players, and there's no other enemies. Maybe, and it's this huge giant map, and like the concept of it is amazing. And I reached out to people in Discord and people that play the game a lot, and the other version of it, where the end game players are playing, are really populated, and you get into these epic battles and stuff like that. So maybe it was just bad luck. Maybe I was playing at a bad time and there was nobody on. But the version I played of it, I went through the tutorial and explained how it works, and it's amazing. Like, I wish that World of Warcraft had something like this, retail WoW, and I wish like there was. I think this mode in general could just be its own game, with how cool the mechanics of it are. But I couldn't find anyone to fight. And I did play the Battlegrounds too, which were pretty fun. But this, even though it is kind of scaled, it's really not, because you'll just get dummied by people that are fully kitted out with like full gear sets and stuff like that.
It's weird because your builds don't make you necessarily better. It just makes you more efficient at whatever you're doing, which I think is a weird scaling. You're saying something, Nave?
I feel like you guys are touching on something with, like, over the past like 15 minutes you guys have been talking. I've just had not a whole lot to say because I don't have nearly as much experience, but it's like the whole matchmaking situation, the whole like interacting with your environment and interacting with other players and stuff. I can see why I was getting because I was getting dreadfully bored towards the end of this game. Like, there has to be something to tickle that fucking goblin inside of my brain to make sure he's awake and paying attention. And Elder Scrolls Online just kind of didn't have it for me. I was thinking about the matchmaking, what you were saying, and it's like every single instance of PvE that you can do is so brainless since everything scales to you. You never feel like you're getting any stronger. You never feel like it's like, if I want to play a solitary MMO, I can play RuneScape, and then there are visible benchmarks of like, I am now 70 woodcutting, I can cut yews. It's like, I am now 50 attack, I can probably start attacking dragons now. You know what I mean? And there's like tangible reward for the grind. Whereas in this game, the grind is kind of just the reward itself, or like you're getting rewarded by maybe story or whatever you're getting out of this, or if you're into the Far Cry checklist, just knocking off all of the little zones and stuff, which there's that as well. But it's like, I'm not into that. I kind of want to see progress, and if I can't see progress, I want to interact with the world in meaningful ways. And it's hard to expect that of an MMO, but you can do that in a way where you do have interactivity more with the random players, because there's so much variance that can come from just a random personal interaction with a stranger. And you're saying you were talking about how World of Warcraft doesn't have matchmaking, and so that was kind of tumbling around in my brain for a minute, and I'm like, why doesn't it? But you were describing the dungeons. The dungeons are so much more meaningful and so much more elaborate than these dungeons, where it's literally just push forward, kill the mobs. when Philip and Melissa were playing with me, I was literally sprinting past everything and then getting to the boss and then just using. I had a literal build. I had two. You can have two hotkey bars. I had one hotkey bar for offense when I'm with my team, and I had one hotkey bar specifically designed to keep me alive while I'm getting attacked by mobs and use AOE attacks to slowly whittle them down to death. So by the time Philip and Melissa, who wanted to play the game like real people, got to me after killing all the mobs that I had aggroed, they would just have to fight the boss, and the boss would already be like half dead because I was soloing him. And so it's like, and you can just solo them. Like it just like that adds to what everyone was saying before. It's like the interactivity isn't exactly there. It reminds me of a news article going around where everyone's poo-pooing on Halo Infinite again, because apparently the co-op campaign is not going to have matchmaking. And the first thing I saw the first thing I thought when I saw that, which I don't know if you guys think what you guys think about this, but it's like,
It shouldn't have.
who is
Who
playing
wants it?
co-op
Yeah.
campaign with randoms? Like, who's doing that? That's so much more of a personal experience to play the campaign through with a personal friend, like rather than just some complete stranger. I started thinking about, can you Halo 3 co-op matchmake? Like, is that even possible? Maybe on the
Halo
Master Chief
Reach had it.
Collection.
Halo Reach
Halo
had
Reach?
it, but they deleted it. I think like 3 weeks or something, maybe 3 months. They deleted it shortly after the game launched because A, it was a little bit buggy, but B, literally nobody played it for obvious reasons.
It's what it makes me think of is me and Philip were playing that Ember game. We had our lobby open. The first couple of times we would immediately get a full lobby because the game's on Game Pass. And I imagine one of the two people that showed up was a child. And so at first they'd be kind of doing things, whatever, but then afterwards they realized they could blow up a barrel near us and kill us. And so people would just start griefing, right? And Philip was getting upset. I was already feeling a little burnt out in the first fucking 2 hours of this game. I'm already like, I don't know if I want to play this, Philip. And so these people kept killing us, and there's no way to kick them. So Philip's like, guess I got to start a new lobby. He starts a new lobby, and then it gets populated with people who inevitably, after 30 minutes, start killing the hostages. They're hostages now.
Hostages.
Yeah,
No,
they're being held hostage
civilians.
by fire.
They need to be rescued.
Yeah, but it makes me think about that. It's like, why wouldn't that just happen? And it's like, why doesn't that happen in Elder Scrolls? Oh, because there's no meaningful way to grief in Elder Scrolls. Like, there's not even a fucking negative interaction you can have on Elder Scrolls. Like, whenever I first started playing, I was like, Philip and, like, Melissa was a Dragon Knight or whatever. Philip was a whatever, I don't know. But they were both, like, DPS champions. I was like, I'm just going to be a healer. Because I already have a specific healing class with the kind of character I made anyways. So, but they never needed me. Their self heals were totally fine. I was just a bot that did nothing, that contributed nothing to the game. So I slowly turned into another DPS, and then slowly turned into the only form of griefing I could do, which was sprint ahead to the boss. Like I didn't know what else I could. I didn't know how else I could vary my experience because I wasn't reading anything. I wasn't experiencing the lore that I'm sure is great. Especially after the High Isle or whatever, like the whole reveal of that, talking about the political intrigue and stuff, and me going, maybe this isn't World of Warcraft, and maybe I should read some of the shit that people are saying to me. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all. That's what I'm thinking about this whole time.
Yeah, and that's the type of stuff, honestly, that makes World of Warcraft. And I should like preface this again. I'm talking about classic World of Warcraft because in retail WoW, it's very similar. Where you just jump into an instance, you don't communicate, you don't really need to. You just face roll the dungeon, and then you're done. There are more complex modes like raids and heroic dungeons and mythic dungeons, which ESO has their own versions of that, which probably require a lot more skill and coordination and teamwork and communication. But we didn't get to the end game as far. I didn't. I don't think that you guys did either. So we never really experienced that. But in classic WoW, it's like that from day one. And I'll give you an example, like kind of a scenario as to what makes classic WoW so good for me. And this might be something that other people don't like and why they choose to play Elder Scrolls, because like it's not like technically better or worse. This is just why I really like it. So I'm doing a quest in classic World of Warcraft where I have to basically go to this castle and kill this boss who's kind of like the villain in this like story arc that I'm going through. And it's in this area called Terran Mill, where kind of the Horde zones and the Alliance zones kind of converge for the first time at lower levels. And I can't get to the castle because I'm getting ganked by Alliance people. So some people probably hate that and they might not want to play the game because of that. what I had to do though, because there's no way I was going to be able to get past them. There's more of them than me, and some of them were even stronger than me. What I had to do was go back to the town and talk to other players and be like, okay, how can anybody want to form an alliance killing raid with me to get rid of these people that are harassing people that are just trying to quest? And you can actually talk to them because they'll talk to you because the game's designed for this. And you create a group and you get people that want to help you with this. And I couldn't get enough people to just straight up like freaking Civil War these alliance. So we had to like set up a trap. And one ability that a hunter has, which is what class I played, is called Feign Death, where you can pretend to be dead and just lay on the street or on the ground or whatever. It drops aggro. It's kind of cool. So I went into the main path where I kept getting ganked, and I was waiting for the alliance to come and kill me. And my friends were rogues, and they were all stealth like around me. There was like 3 rogues with me. And rogues can be stealth just like in ESO where
Yeah.
other players can't see you. So I'm standing in the road pretending to be dead, and other players can tell that you're doing this. So they basically, I'm just an easy target because also when you're dead, or when you're laying down and not in combat, it's easier to get critted. So yeah, I was basically a sitting duck. So we literally set this elaborate trap to trap these other players. And when they came in, like the rogues came out of stealth and we ganked them, and then we had the upper hand and then we beat them. And then I made friends this way and I joined their guild, and then I played with them for like 50 hours after that and doing various things because I was in their guild. In ESO, that would never happen because there's no like world PvP when you're questing. And like there's no chance of any of those interactions happening because there's really no need for it. And the fact that I had to go to the town, talk with real players, interact with the world, convince them to help me, become friends with them that way, that's how World of Warcraft works, classic WoW. There's so many instances where even if you're playing on a PvE server, you need to communicate with people to get them to help you with things, or maybe you need to help them with something, or maybe you can provide a service like as a leather worker or a blacksmith, and you're just always communicating with people and talking with people, and it's awesome. And there's a real kind of threat of danger of that you can't do something because the game's designed that someone can't just solo everything. There are ways you can do that if you're like a hardcore player or whatever, but generally speaking, there's quests that will be at your level that you can't beat unless you convince someone to help you. And because the game has such a good community and everyone's on board with this style of gameplay, you're going to find people that want to help you. It's not like you don't have to go to Xbox LFG and try to like pay someone to help you or find like some weirdo. It's just way more connected. And then on the flip side in ESO, like because everything is so easy, I remember I was doing a quest in, I can't remember the name of the town, but it was like this quest that involved werewolves and this like political betrayal. And it was a really cool story. And it took like probably 4 hours to get through the whole zone's quest. And it was awesome. Like all the acting was great. The cutscenes were great. The story was great. I was like hooked in and wanted to find out the conclusion. And then you figure out who the big bad is and you fight him. And it's literally just like the same as every other person you fought. There's no extra challenge. He has no extra health. He has no extra mechanics. It wasn't difficult. I didn't have to think and just it takes away from the epicness of that. Whereas typically at the end of a quest chain in WoW, you're greeted with an elite mob that you have to kill, and usually you can't solo those, so you have to be like, "Is anybody doing this quest? Does anyone want to group up for this quest?" And then someone will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm stuck on that too. I need help with that as well." And then you group up, and then you kill them, and then you're like, "Hey, well, what are you doing next?" Like, I have these quests. And he's like, "Yeah, I have this quest too. Let's keep staying together." And now you have a new friend that you add to your friends list, and like that doesn't happen in ESO, and that's the whole point of an MMO for me. Whereas ESO, I feel, is just like people that want to go in with their friends. It's ESO is literally a co-op Elder Scrolls, in my opinion, until you get to the end game where it likely changes. But I never got there, so I can't really comment on that.
I mean, that's quite a bit of discussion points. I agree with you on a lot of those
Sorry.
points. Yeah, like that was a big chunker. Uh, I'll cover more of that in my final words. One thing I do want to put in before we start to move along is WoW does so much better with the enemy types compared to ESO. ESO
Mhm.
enemies are very just copy
Humanoid.
paste from the other games, nothing crazy new. And they just don't have any fun personalities. They're all like mindless monsters most of the time. There's no take handle or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. And the same thing like you could say too with the character creation. Like there are different races and stuff like that, but they're all still, even when you're a lizard or a cat, it's still humanoid, right? Like you're still bipedal. Like some might have a tail. Like in World of Warcraft, like sometimes you're a cow,
Hold on.
Sometimes you're a
You
gnome.
say that, but like the first gear drop Nave got as a cat was a Lucha Libre leather cat mask that he was wearing for a long time, and it was pretty funny looking. I liked it.
And it had it had cat ears, so it was like my ears, so spots for my ears to go in, but not just holes, so my ears poked out. It
With
was
like leather
specifically designed
caps.
for a Khajiit. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was really funny. And
That's
I
I
like
was
awesome.
that.
wearing it even though it was like level 5 gear and I was like level 18, and I was still wearing it just because.
All right. Think we're starting getting close on time. Anything more before we go to final words?
You want to talk about your characters specifically? Like I kind of brought up my character. Like my character was I don't remember what class specifically was, but I was a Khajiit, and I had the class that gives you the Earth magic that lets you summon a bear, which I named Scooby,
The
and
warden.
then
Warden.
the Warden. That was it. Yeah. So I had ice abilities, and then I had healing abilities. But really, I just tried to use the animal summoning as much as I could because I thought I had like this head canon that my character, I don't know, was a druid or something. I don't know. But it turns out like a lot of the abilities kind of sucked. So I started mixing and matching a whole bunch of different things. And even up to the end, I was still like trying to figure out what was the correct combination of things up until I became the toxic dungeon ruiner that I became at the end. But
My character, he was just a Nord named Poopgar, and he was just going to be a tanky boy. But I realized that the way the scaling was going, it was just taking too long to kill things, and things were barely hurting me. So I just
yeah,
moved more into DPS as the game went on.
it was unfortunate for us because it was like I was trying to be a healer as much as I could, but it was just becoming because Melissa was also a tank because she just soloed for she's like level 400 something, but she was literally strictly soloing. She had never done dungeons. She did the uh the anchors or whatever, but
Yeah,
she
the
did them
Dolmens.
all back before they changed all the scaling. So the game didn't used to be where everything scaled with you. The game used to have hard level caps and stuff like that. So she keeps lamenting. She's like, I miss being able to kill these dolmen gates solo, just to being able like going to the low level ones and beating them. But now all of them are as hard as they always are. There's never any change. So it's kind of
Mhm.
strange. But yeah, so they were both tanky people. I was a healer, so it was not like the most efficient party that we had.
Yeah, I was playing an orc dragon knight named Dor Edo's Bane, and I also wanted to play a tank and realized that it just makes you slower when you're questing. I still kept the tank hotbar though, because you get instant queues for dungeons, which is really nice, and you have to wait if you queue as DPS,
Yeah.
just because there's more people playing DPS. Um, and yeah, so I tried to make an orc from World of Warcraft, and yeah, again, it kind of just looked like a green human.
My original character was an orc as well, an orc dragonite. So that's pretty funny. And I named him Pibblethip, which is a Magic the Gathering reference. Pibblethip was a character on a card called Totally Lost, and he's a tiny little one-eyed dude. He kind of looks like he was like a minion before minions existed a little bit. But yeah. What was my next character's name? The one
Your
we played
cat?
with.
Oh,
It was
Skeeter El Cheeto or something?
Skeeter El Cheeto. That's me. And what was your character's name, Philip?
Oh, it's just Poopgar.
Oh, Poopgar. You already said it. Damn.
Yep. All right, let's move it along. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll hit our final words. Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Now, we'll probably do about 10 minutes of final thoughts, and then 5 minutes of trying to wrap up, and then
Cool.
5 minutes of lost in the sauce.
What is that thing back there in the background by the window? The thing with the red hat. Is that a Shin Megami Tensei like Jack thing?
That is a Nintendo Switch OLED box with a Cuphead hat on it.
I see that. Yep.
Cuphead hat. I can't. Is that Cuphead? That's Cuphead.
Nice.
Oh, right.
It's
Okay.
Cuphead on the hat, not a hat
It's
for
red. The
Cuphead.
red is. I thought the red was part of the head, but yeah, it's like around
Whoa. Surprise.
the fucking. I was gonna say paraphernalia, but that's not right. What is it called? The
I think
collectibles.
paraphernalia kind of fits, to be honest.
Paraplegic?
I don't know. Man, I wish Cuphead had online.
I know. That's been on our list to play for a while. They've even bought me a copy so we could play it, and it doesn't go online.
It's really good.
Which you feel like it would almost be easy to go online because the bosses are pretty scripted, right? Or not scripted, but like they're on set
Uh,
rotations.
Kind of. There's like a mechanic with some of the bosses where like they have, let's say, 4 different mechanics, and if you keep fucking up on one, the game will make sure you get that one because it wants to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
So if there's an easy mechanic that you constantly are beating with no issues, it will try to not make you do that mechanic. So it does kind of rotate a little bit to try to screw you as much as it can. But I think it's more so it's just a very small team and they don't want to deal with the mess of
Yeah, I get that.
implementing online.
That's evil. It's so interesting of a game that me and Philip have been considering for a little bit to just play it solo. Like Philip can play it with JP or whatever, but I'm just gonna have to play it solo because I have nobody around with that kind of skill level, that skill set to play this game. I can barely play the fucking game, and so
Really hard.
it might just be a game where there's been multiple games where I just haven't beaten and just went through with the episode, and I was just like, they're just gonna have to be okay with that, and it might have to be one of those. I got to the dragon fight with the castle and everything, and that's where I stopped playing. But I don't think I was like, I'm never playing again. I think it was just like, wow, this is hard. I can feel my heart palpitating a little bit, so I need to fucking put this down and play maybe some Rock Band or something.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Got it.
Elder Scrolls Online, a game where you just kind of walk to quest markers and kill bears. So I will take this, as I usually do, as the first go around. I recommend this game. I know we've definitely been dogging on it for the last while in certain aspects. It's a good game, maybe not the best MMO, but it is a great online experience if you just have a friend and you just want to play some games. Maybe not the overworld questing is that great in co-op, but if you just want to run dungeons mindlessly while you're talking, or I got in and I did the Cyrodiil thing, which is just the open PvP area. I just found another player and invited him to my party, and then me and him found another player. And eventually we had like 5 players and we were just in a mob, just dominating across the ground. And there was one enemy rogue who was so determined to put a stop to us, he would come up and try and assassinate one of us. And we would all just turn around and beat the crap out of him real quick. And I had a challenge that was like kill 20 rogues or whatever. And I was at like 15 by the end of our little play session as we took over like 5 different fortresses. This game is good. It has the trappings of microtransactions and annoying little paywalls on things, but it's not unplayable because of them. This is like a good game despite all the problems, which is, I know it makes it sound bad, but this is a game worth playing. Just download it, give it a shot. What really sells me is it is an Elder Scrolls game, and I kind of miss this. I know after we started this because of like, look, we need to free up our hard drives because we have so much games just installed on there that we haven't finished yet. Elder Scrolls will be an easy delete after this. After me playing this for the last like week and a half or so, I think I'm actually going to keep it installed and keep playing after this review. I don't think I'm done with Elder Scrolls yet.
Yeah, I was poo-pooing on being bored and stuff, but honestly, I really enjoyed just sitting in your party, just a queuing experience, just on accident, and then hearing, "Oh, world boss time, Nave, wake up!" And I'm just like, "Oh, this is my favorite part. This is the part that I like.
The world bosses
big
are good.
big scary boys."
And some of them do require actual like tactics, like, oh, we know at this phase it summons in like knights made out of sand, and we have to kill those knights, otherwise they will gang up and kill us. Where other ones are like, we just need to burst his health bar down as fast as possible. So there is strategy to this game. You just got to find it.
I definitely liked it because I felt really useful as well. Because if I switched to the selfish healing thing, I was healing everyone on accident too, as big AOE heals, because those just happen to be my best ones. And so I would just see someone's health bar go down, immediately start healing someone up, and then I would just hear Melissa go, "Oh, thank God," and I would just be like, "Yes, that's what I wanted at the beginning." You know what I mean? And I only get it from these raid bosses now, or like the world bosses. I mean,
who wants to take next?
I can go. I agree with pretty much everything that both you said, especially the stuff that Philip said. I was definitely trashing on the game a little bit. Well, pretty much everything I said I think was negative, which goes against my core beliefs and my Twitter handle. But it is a great game. You just have to you have to be the right kind of player for it. Like I went into it wanting that Warcraft experience, which that's not what they're intending to do either. If you're someone who really likes Oblivion or Skyrim and you like being able to explore this huge world, find lots of awesome stories and kind of just roll through everything like a god, that's kind of what this game provides. Everything's voice acted. You have great stories. There's a lot of awesome stuff too that we didn't even touch on. Like you can build your own house and furnish it, which that's kind of where the microtransactions come in heavily.
You're just so expensive. When I was on PC, I tried that actively, and I was like saving up my money. I was doing all the crafting and everything, just trying to generate enough income. I never did. I never bought my house. It was very sad.
Yeah. usually if you're not a paid subscriber, you're going to end up with like a hotel room essentially. But the fact that you can get these massive estates that you can fill with all kinds of stuff, like you can go and kill a dungeon boss or a raid boss and like take their head as a trophy and put it above your fireplace in your personal house that you can invite your friends to. That's really cool. You can, in the newest expansion, there's like a trading card game that's built into the questing system and built into the game like Gwent style, which is like really awesome. The music is really cool. The art is really good. And I will say this, which I probably should have said at the beginning, is I wanted to play a ton of this. I wanted to get hooked like World of Warcraft. And so I wanted to start at the beginning. So I was playing content from 2014, 2015. I wasn't playing even Morrowind. I wasn't playing the new stuff because this game has a massive community. It has a developer that supports it a ton, and it's constantly releasing new content. And it has been doing that since day one. And I'm playing the really old stuff, which does not compete with World of Warcraft. I think looking at what the community is saying, the content just keeps getting better as time goes on. So I was literally playing the worst content. But even with that, there's a lot of stuff that you can enjoy from that. And not everybody wants that more social experience, I guess, with strangers. And I should say I didn't play it with friends like you guys did. You guys were in a party with 2 or 3 or 4 other people, which probably made it amazingly more fun. If I was in the party with you guys, I probably would have had a much better time playing it, especially the PvP, because that was like a big downfall for me. Because once I got through that tutorial and realized how awesome that Cyrodiil mode is, it was even more disappointing to find out that there's just nobody in this game I was in, which kind of sucked. But if, like I said, if you're someone who really likes the Skyrim experience, the Oblivion experience, and you just want to be able to play that with friends, and then at the end, when you get to the end, you have this the game kind of opens up, as far as I know, and you get raids and heroic dungeons and veteran dungeons and harder content that will challenge you and kind of force you to join a guild and get that more social experience. Then this game is perfect. And the barrier to entry is low. It's on Game Pass, and it's really cheap to jump in if you're not on Game Pass. But I'm looking for the Morrowind experience, where it is harder. You can make decisions that will get you killed. You can go to the wrong neighborhood and get messed up and have to figure out ways around it. And it is harder and it is more of an in-depth RPG. That's personally what I was looking for from this, and I didn't get it. But again, community's massive. A lot of people love this game, and it is a well-made game with a lot of redeeming qualities. And I also would recommend checking this out.
Yep, I think that if you are looking for something that isn't particularly challenging that you can easily play in the background while talking to people, I think this is a perfect game. I think I poo-pooed on it a lot too. I was calling it boring and everything, but you have to understand that I did play this game for like 36 hours, like just roaming around. Like I wasn't particularly min-maxing, especially the first 24 hours when I didn't know how to min-max. I didn't know that it was even possible. So I was just kind of roaming around, clearing delves and stuff, and just talking to Philip and Melissa and Jana sometimes. And so it was like I thought I had a more negative experience than I really did. And what really opened my eyes to that was playing Ember, where I realized, oh, I genuinely don't like this game. This isn't how I feel when I play Elder Scrolls. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in trying to be hyperbolic that I kind of get lost in my own forest of thought, where I just have to step back and realize, oh, okay, I genuinely enjoyed this game so much that I was playing it without Philip. Philip mentioned that we were playing it for about a week and a half, but that's not particularly true because me and Philip were both playing it by ourselves also for about 2 months. We really did want this episode to come out somewhere near the RuneScape episode because we wanted to have a direct comparison. This was kind of like, is my MMO better than your MMO? Because Philip was really big on ESO and I was pushing RuneScape since like day one. You know what I mean? So when I look back on all of this, I did specifically compare those two games whenever I was talking about the progression, and I still believe that. I still believe that RuneScape's progression is infinitely better because there's tangible effect on the fucking environment around you. Like you can't cut that tree down because you suck. Get better, kid. Like that's it in that game. And like Eric was saying, you can just level 1 kill an eldritch god and be fine with it. And of course, I didn't mess with any of the crafting because it was all the crafting supplies were always filling up my inventory, so I always just broke them down, which de-incentivized me to do anything involving anything that would open up my screw up my inventory. So that's, I guess I did have something to say about that. The game is good. The game, if you enjoy the Elder Scrolls experience, I think that you would definitely enjoy this. But I think that if you do enjoy Elder Scrolls, then you've already been playing this. Like, we're not showing up, we're not turning heads with the idea that, oh, if you liked Skyrim, we're probably gonna like this. We're not gonna like get them
Hey,
any
we got
more
more
Game Pass
Elder Scrolls
subscribers.
over here. Get over here
Yeah.
right now. Like, more
I do
Elder
think it's
Scrolls.
worth saying that though, because I think there are people, like I personally know people who have never played this and they love Skyrim because they think it's an MMO and it's not the same thing. Just like like Elder Scrolls Legends, which is the card game. That's
I
not
love
Skyrim.
that one so much.
It is really good. It's very good. I feel bad that it kind of died a little bit, but
Yeah, they canceled it.
Yeah, but that's
Died
not
a little bit.
That's clearly not Skyrim, right?
No
If
longer
you're a
supported.
huge fan of, yeah, it's sad. But if you are a huge fan of Oblivion and a huge fan of Skyrim, but you don't like trading card games, you're not going to like Elder Scrolls Legends. And I feel like people think that because I'm a huge Skyrim fan or a huge Oblivion fan, but I don't like MMOs, that they're not going to like ESO. But ESO is it's way closer to Elder Scrolls than it is what I would consider, or what most people would consider, a traditional MMO. It very expertly kind of blends those together, and it leans heavily to the Elder Scrolls side of the scale.
All right.
So
I think
people would like it.
Yeah.
I think.
Check it out. So once again, I want to thank old Eric from Game Positive Podcast. Once
Yeah,
again,
no problem. Thank you.
go check him out.
Philip had it queued up to go, tell us about your pot. Oh, I just
Wait,
said
we already did that. Yeah. So Nave, what are we playing next week?
I don't know. The Soulless, whatever. I still don't know exactly what it's called because I think I spelled it wrong in the chat. So we keep, every time we say the name, we say something different. But it's on Game Pass.
You have it in your notes. Soulastia.
Yeah, that might not be right. That's just what I typed.
It is a recent addition to Game Pass. Okay. I think in the last month that this was recorded, so June of 2022. So it's like it's a very interesting game, and if you like Dungeons and Dragons and you like the role playing, you like the die rolling, creating your own character, kind of role playing as this thing, it's very interesting. One thing we didn't mention when we were talking about making our characters is that you can make personality traits for that character. Like you can like make them more egotistic, and you can make them, loyal to the law and stuff like that. And while I don't think it changes dialogue any, I think every piece of dialogue that everyone votes on is assigned a specific couple of traits, and whoever embodies that trait more gets assigned to that dialogue. So it makes things very funny because I think I made a halfling cleric, but I made her violent, and she's the only violent one. So she's lawful and violent, and she protects her family, but she is violent, and so she's always like this evil little shit, and it's so funny because I made her so cute. So it's like she's always just yelling at people, and it's great. So there's a lot of good little elements of that. We can play something like that. Ember, we're pretty close to beating. I'm definitely weighing down that experience, just a little bit. And there's still other games. Yeah, Multiverses.
Yeah,
that's the one. Put it on the list, Philip, because that one, I just Smash 2v2. Yeah, that just sounds like a fucking blast. I didn't even know it was free to play.
We can do custom games.
We could get Jana. Jana knows how to play Smash, right?
Probably. I'm not sure actually.
Wait, can you local online play on Multiverses? Do you know?
Probably.
You can definitely local play. I don't know if you can local online. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to do that. I haven't come across
Smash has it.
I have to guess.
You'd be surprised.
Can you really
sometimes
play
just don't have
Smash online though?
Yeah, Smash Online.
What are you played it? Good times.
I can check in on that for you.
All right. Well, let's call it here, co-op partners. Thanks for joining us this week. Maybe we can all go kill some bears together next time.
Or aggro everybody in the area.
Bye.
Bye-bye.